medical study on the effects of marijuana use confirms that everyone knows you're high and that you'll most likely never stop feeling like this.
Your parents know you're high. Your friends know you're high. Strangers on the street know you're high.
Welcome to Everyone Knows You're High. Hosted by Uncle Kalei.
You're gonna never come back, you know, all that stupid shit.
And Uncle Erik.
If I could like retreat away.
Yeah, you should definitely try that.
This is forever. This is the new reality.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
All right. Welcome back.
That'll add to the collection.
Yeah. The supercut is coming one day, promise. Welcome back to another episode of Everyone Knows You're High, hosted by Kalei and me, Erik. And this week we have Randy on from
Gonce.
Randy Gonce.
Yo.
There you
Well, I
go.
wasn't sure if I was going to use the last name now or just wait till we give the Instagram, but yeah. If you use your first and last name on the internet, so I guess it's perfectly cool.
Totally.
Well,
Let's
welcome.
go,
Thank you
Appreciate
for
you
fucking
guys.
joining us tonight.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Hell yeah.
Been looking
Right on.
forward to it.
So actually, I want to start off because sometimes we forget to ask, and sometimes we like way late. So let's start off with tell us about the first time you got high.
Oh. All right. The first time I got high was 16. I was at this chick's house that it was like the first time of me meeting her.
Oh,
But like she was in my HICIA friends at the time,
Okay.
but I had never like spent some time with her. And she was a big smoker. And at the time, I know my sister had tried it, but I was all like, I don't know if I'm gonna fuck with this thing. But she was smoking when I got there.
Okay.
So I was all like, I gotta smoke with
You
her.
threw it
right?
into the fire,
I gotta
bro.
smoke with her. Right? So 2-3 puffs, nice sized joint. About 2 hours later, I'm in the back of her car, just cracking, giggling. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
a little kid giggling. You know what I mean? Having a good time. And I kind of like come to, and then I'm in a diner with completely separate set of friends. Completely separate set of friends.
Oh.
The girl's gone. I don't know what's going on. So the next day, I'm like piecing together what had happened the night before.
Oh, shit.
Like lost time, like
Yeah,
legit.
Exactly. And apparently the laughing fit that I had was a good like 2 or 3 hours. And so they just drove me around in the car.
No,
Around
shit.
the
Were they
neighborhood.
older or younger than you?
Same age.
Same age.
Yeah.
Whoa.
16,
That's a
17.
cool story, though,
Not
man.
bad. Yeah, yeah.
They didn't let anything bad happen to you that
Exactly.
you or you
all
can
knew.
remember.
Yeah.
You,
They all knew too, because all of them were stoners. They knew it. They like it was my first time, and they're
Right.
gonna have to take care of me. But me and the girl ended up dating for like a year and a half, like maybe 4 or 5 months later.
You passed the test.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it was like the first spark you guys broke bread together.
Right.
Fucking, was there ever a time when you like had that paranoid feeling when you knew everyone knew you were high in a place where you weren't supposed to be high?
Still.
For real, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Often.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
Yeah.
No, for real. That's not even joking,
Right.
bro.
For real.
Is there anywhere you feel comfortable being stoned, like where you
Oh
don't
yeah.
care?
I mean, I'm pretty comfortable stoned anywhere,
Yeah.
to be honest. But it's like I feed off other people's energy a lot.
Mhm.
So if I'm like catching what I at least I think are stares or something like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, are you fucking?
And
Like,
they're probably not.
Do they
most,
know? You know?
most times they don't know or don't really care, but you
Right.
start thinking to yourself, and it like snowballs. And you're like, oh fuck, everybody knows I'm high.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta
yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah, and I talk a lot to myself, so already, you know what I mean? I like have conversation, or I like philosophize with myself when I got
Right.
nothing to do, so I'm already talking to myself when I'm around people too, so.
Have you ever like caught yourself exclaiming to yourself out loud, like,
Confirming.
or just like something like in the grocery store, like, oh, these cookies look so good. Like, oh shit, I said that out loud.
Yeah.
Like so stoned, you're like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, this one's way cheaper. Like, oh shit, I'm by myself in here.
I was like, I'm so fucking high. Oh, shit. There's a lady next to me.
You know what is a good like indicator of if you're stoned, if things just fall out of your hand? Like your lighter just drops, or like you're smoking a cigarette or whatever, and it just like boop. I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
Mine's my mouth's open. Like,
Mm.
I got that stare.
Yeah, yeah. Your
Gaping
face
mouth.
muscles all relaxed.
Catching flies, they used
Yeah.
to say. You gonna catch a fly in there, bro? Right on, fucking. So you've been a regular smoker ever since fucking ever since then?
No, actually. I joined the military about a year and a half later. I graduated at 17 because I started school a little early. And then by 18, I was kind of getting in trouble. So between 17 and 18, I had graduated. I was young. I was working at a car repair shop, just fixing cars, doing oil changes and stuff. And, you know, some of the guys that work in those spots, you know, have been around the block.
Right.
And, you know, smoked and drank with them a lot. And this is the first time I'm going to tell this story publicly, actually. You ready for this?
All right, yeah.
So, yeah, 17 years old, and I'm with my buddy D. He called himself D, from South Jamaica, Queens. So, for context, I was born and raised in Delaware and spent a lot of time in South Philly growing up. So, young kid, you know, kind of trying to figure out my path. And so me and him go up to South Jamaica. We go to the Jamaica market, you know, get some clothes, stuff like that. And he was like, oh, we're going to go pick up this car. A friend of mine's Civic. We're going to bring it back to the shop. We're going to fix it up.
Okay.
I was like, cool. Just picking up a car and driving it back. There's two of us. I can do that. No problem. Red Civic. We're driving down back on the Jersey Turnpike. I get pulled over. We're going a good 80 miles an hour. But, you know, it's Jersey Turnpike.
Right.
And, you know me. I'm a young inner city white kid. You know
And you're
what I mean?
driving a red Civic.
During a red
Who's
Civic.
not going to go fast?
Right.
The car goes fast on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't even your fault.
Right. Cop pulls me over. D keeps going. Just, you know, I'm thought he's going to pull over with me, hang out, you know what I mean, make sure I'm good to go. He just keeps going. And he texts, or at the time there was no texting. So he waited at the next, what do they call it? Rest stop.
The rest stop, yeah.
Like just cruising at the rest stop, right? So I'm like going through this process. I'm like, oh, why is this taking so long? The guy comes back. He's like, this is registered to a white Civic. This is a red Civic. And I was all like, bro, I don't know. You help him out. I just picked this car up. My buddy, I'm just driving it with him. And again, being a young, you know, probably like almost 18, 17-something white kid. I was just like, okay, you know, go out your business. Go to the next rest stop where D is, and he's sweating bullets, right?
Uh-oh.
I'm like, what's going on? He's like, we should get home. Let's just go home. Let's just go home. So, all right, I get back to the house. I drop the car at his place. He takes me back home. And he's all like, talk to you tomorrow. We got work, this and that. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy on about? So I finally, like we're at work, and I see he's just like acting weird. He's not like talking to me, this and that. Turns out the dude had like 2 or 3 pounds of coke in the car. Didn't tell me about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Completely didn't tell me about it, right? And when I found out, obviously pretty livid, right?
Right.
I mean, talk about consent these days. Jeez.
Fucking-
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Good
totally.
Lord.
Informed.
Right. And a young kid, too, right? Like,
Fuck.
that could have set me up for failure for the rest of my
Yeah.
life, right?
Oh, yeah,
The
definitely.
next
yeah.
day, I was in the recruiter's office.
Yeah.
Literally the next
Get
day.
out of
I was all
there.
like, and I knew I wanted to do the military at that point in my life. I knew it was something that was going to be successful for me. I didn't have a father figure around in life, so I had always stuck to. I was like a junior ROTC in school and stuff
Right.
like that, kind of like authority-esque world. And crazy enough, I was playing in a punk rock bands too. It's kind of like a juxtaposition, you know what I mean? Like playing in punk rock bands, but wanting to go in the military.
Like anti-authority
Yeah.
while authority.
Yeah.
I love that word, by the way, juxtaposition, juxtapose.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
fucking great word.
Yeah.
What's the
It
meaning?
means like putting two things next to show the comparison or the difference between the 2.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a great word.
Fuck yeah.
Got some great words. We spit them out throughout the eve. Yeah.
But anyway, so you joined the military, 18.
Yeah, joined the military. 18, did that for 6 years, and I obviously couldn't smoke when I was in the military.
Right.
And I had an intense love affair with cannabis for the first few years of my life, and kind of just made the mental blockage that okay, this isn't a part of my life anymore.
Right.
But I had an ego death in the military, what I call an ego death. Like that's what I thought I wanted to do my whole life. 30 years, I kind of drank that Kool-Aid. Again, young kid from the city, single mother. I was kind of in a patriarchal household. Always needed to be the man of the house. Wanted to, show my mom I could be a good model
Be a man,
male,
yeah.
right? And I got there in my first deployment. I looked around and I was all like, "Get me the fuck out of here!" You know what I mean?
Shit.
It was just such a reality check. I had more in common with the village elders that I was supposed to get information from and build rapport with. They were supposed to give me information than the dudes that sent me to war in the first place. Some of the guys that I went to war with, you know what I mean? No empathy, these folks. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like,
right.
oh, you're getting too close to them. Like, this is another human being. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
I got to have a little compassion,
Yeah.
So I immediately kind of was all like, okay, this isn't the path for me, but I had 6 more years to do, so
Oh,
had to
wow.
ride it out.
So I'm assuming there was a lot of drinking then, since you weren't smoking.
There was a lot of drinking.
Finding something.
A lot
else.
of drink, and that too was a time when like spice came around, the latter
Oh.
part. So I was trying that out. What a terrible trip that was.
How was that? I've never tried it personally, but I've heard horror stories. But
Yeah,
It seems like if you
Horror stories
you
for
get
sure.
you there, right?
Did you see the Vice documentary on that, on
No,
spice?
no.
How like England had an epidemic and they're having like cerebral palsy and shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's some like real clinical data
Right,
showing
right.
that like it came from spice.
Yep.
Fucking crazy.
It's all synthetic shit.
And
you know
they're
what I mean?
addicted to
It's-
it,
yeah,
bro.
Totally. It's not good for you at all.
No, it isn't.
That's why I was tripping when who was it that told us about fucking that Delta 8 shit that's like becoming super popular now, where
They got
basically
Delta 10 too.
it's at Delta THCO,
TCO just saw that one too.
TBD, like fuck,
Yeah.
it's getting crazy. But the fact that the way they said they process it, like they're spraying it on just hemp flower and like,
Yep.
Right.
I always wondered why I would get headaches when I tried that shit. Like I would always get like a weird headache, and it's because it's fucking the hemp flower.
It could be anything.
But I mean, yeah, true. But I heard like if you smoke hemp, you get headaches and shit. They can give you headaches.
Sometimes, I mean, depends on how it's cured. So my experience is like I'll get a headache every time something didn't have the chlorophyll breakdown. There's lingering chlorophyll inside the biomass that would give me a headache.
Which is crazy because that Delta 8 shit is like clear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the oil, yeah.
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 Yeah, I haven't. Like,
I never tried the flour because I just can't bring myself to buy
I
flour
just
on the
stay
internet.
on fucking, I stay where it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to try it because it was like this thing that was coming out. It's legal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But still, if you were to piss test for it, it'd come out as THC. So it's not a viable option for like people in the military.
Right,
or
right. Exactly.
Was CBD allowed in the military?
No.
Not even that.
No.
any cannabinoid, right?
Yeah. At least when I was in, it really wasn't accessible anyway. I got out in 2011, 2012.
Okay.
So, I mean, it wasn't as readily accessible it is today. I couldn't go online and just get a shipment to my door.
It's fucking crazy the age we're living in.
Yeah. It's trippy. It's like it goes both ways.
Like you can buy like dab shit on the internet.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's nuts.
I love it, but it's
Well,
fucking.
I just got
crazy.
back from Florida not too long ago, maybe a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and Delta 8 has taken over Florida. I was in
Yeah.
Tampa, and it's in like every corner shop. It's in every kava bar. You know what I mean? Infused drinks, you know what I mean? You name it. It's through the roof. It's the Wild West right there for Delta 8 right now.
You're gonna see all the effects come out of Florida soon.
Yep.
All the negative side effects.
Yep.
That's what I'm worried about too. Is like creating negative data on cannabis.
Totally.
Right.
It puts all of the movement that everyone wants to do back a step or two. You know what I mean? And the thing is, if there was better education around these types of things, people can make informed choices.
Yeah.
That's a different story. But right now, it's just sold us all like, yo, you don't like drink? Go do
There you
this.
go.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's legal
And it's
fucking
free.
weed.
Yeah,
You
it's
You don't need to
legal.
go dispensary. You
Yeah.
can buy them Delta
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Online, bro.
Right, exactly.
I fucking bought into it and tried it, and I was like, "This is fucking cool." Until I learned that, and I was like, "Bro, never again." It's ridiculous.
I've never like done any research on it. I just know like it's not weed. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not Delta.
I mean, it comes from the same
Sure.
plant though, but
comes
it's
from,
just
comes from hemp.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
or whatever man fondles too much, it fucking goes bad. You know?
The further we get from
The
the natural
natural.
genetic,
Yes.
what it is, yeah.
That's
The
why
further
joints.
we get from.
Man, joints
Yeah.
is what's up.
Yeah,
You know?
there you go. That's something that like some of my friends who've been smoking for a long time don't understand about me. It's like to this day, I prefer to smoke a joint. That's just
Yeah.
that's my go-to every time. And
Yes.
people are like, "Wow, the industry's so different now." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I like what I like." You know what I mean?
100%, bruh.
it's not like papers went extinct,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
but still, I would say that, and I prefer to like hit a dab pen. You know what I mean?
Convenience, you know?
Yeah, convenient. For
Some
sure.
people can't smell.
Yeah.
So to each his own, the safest way is best. Like a rosin pen would be good, you know?
That's kind of like what I got. Yeah.
Solventless. Fuck yeah, dude. Yep.
It's the closest to the least bastardization of fucking what's going on there. Right?
Yeah.
So wait, did we get sidetracked? Where were we? I was talking about something. I was saying
Not smoking in the military.
Okay. Yeah. So not smoking in the military. So
Trying
yeah,
to-
I took a 6-year hiatus, and then
Got out in
it was
2011ish.
the day before I got out of the military was the first time I smoked again. And
Oh, yeah.
and I
Because you knew, like, fuck it. What are they going to
yeah,
do to me
it's like
now?
they're gonna test me tomorrow on my way out onto the plane. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And that next week I was in Hawaii, and I was
That's sick.
yeah. I was like, I thought this was gonna be a place where I kind of just like figure my shit out.
Mm.
Again, I had this ego death. I didn't know what I was doing in life. I was 25 at the time, so I was like, oh, I like to go the furthest away from the continent and figure my shit out.
Yeah.
And
Right.
signs kept popping up for me. So like, I saw a guy walking down the beach on my 3rd day here. I was like, I know this dude. Where did he come from? And I go talk to him. I met him on a deployment years ago, and I was teaching a fitness class on deployment. And he was like, oh, I loved your class, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually opening up a gym here in Waikiki. Like, I need people to help me out. It's like, cool. Like, do you need workers? I could cruise for another month and help you open up the gym and start
Yeah.
working. And so did that for a month, and then things just kept falling in place and falling in place.
Right.
And then when things are working out for you, it's hard to balk at that. You know?
Yeah.
Path of least resistance,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Fuck, Hawaii will do that to people, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's allure.
It draws them in.
And I've been smoking good weed since.
Yeah.
Right? And that's another thing with weed in Hawaii, right? That's another. I want to talk about that.
Yes. Let's
So,
get about that.
Weed and Hawaii. For the growers side of it, for me, it's like I see the mainland companies or big corporations wanting to get their hands in the cookie jar, which is Hawaii.
Sure.
What do you think the future holds for us local farmers? What do you think?
I mean, right now, the future is in everybody's hands. You know, it could go any different amount of ways, right? We can look at national trends of what's happening around in all the other legalization states, right?
Right.
Or all the other, not even say legalization, just states that are dealing with this product, this industry, this natural path of healing in one
Right.
way, shape, or form. Like Texas, you know, they're dealing it in a different way. It's not legalized, things like that, but they're still dealing with it. It's not going to be much different from the spectrum that it already is, right? It's not going to be a radical divergent from what's happening, but we can set the parameters now, or set the framework now of what we like see specifically for Hawaii.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
We
You know,
can be in control of our own destiny.
Exactly.
is that
here.
totally
Exactly.
possible, or do you think that there's higher powers that may hinder
There's always
our?
higher powers.
I know. I went into his water a little bit, but
Come wade in my water.
I see the money though. Like
Common
the money
king.
is, you know, the money talks in any industry, and you can kind of see the dragon ass in certain spots and the haste in other spots, right?
Sure.
And then this not only cannabis, it goes. We're talking about cannabis now.
Yeah.
So like
Sorry.
with herb, you know, us farmers, like we don't know what to expect. So you know, what do we? What should we do as a humble farmer to increase the longevity of what we're trying to do and to keep it local?
Are you a farmer as well?
Depends on what you define as a farmer.
Do you grow things in the ground?
I do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
My passion is native plants. So outside of my day job, I also just, you know, I'm a plant guy all around.
Like a horticulture
There you go.
enthusiast.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
my uncle, my Hanai uncle, has a nursery, propagates native plants. We say our mission is propagate to educate. The importance of specifically endemic, but also plants that have medicinal value.
Yep.
And educating people on why it's important. Maybe if you don't even use them in your everyday life, but to propagate them to make sure they exist
So they
in our world.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Nice. Okay, so sorry, back to your question. I just wanted to clear that up.
No,
So-
that's totally fucking.
Yeah.
That's relevant too.
It's super relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, what the question was,
As a farmer. Yeah. Us, you know, the grassroots farmers.
Yeah.
That want to get their toes into the cannabis industry or want to create longevity in the cannabis industry.
Right.
What should we do?
first and foremost is get involved.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like poke your head up. You know what I mean? And really start looking around to like what's happening in all of the spaces nationally, what's happening the spaces here, and want to be a voice, want to speak for yourself or who we up, get some individual speak, you know, on behalf, and just start being involved in the conversation and be willing to hear opposing viewpoints, be willing to hear things that you like to hear, but be willing to have a conversation.
Yes.
And do it humbly and do it gracefully.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do it with understanding that everybody comes from a different walk of life.
Right.
And that we have a system that's, you know, our economic system, our political system, our system that the society has set up for us that exists as it is. So it's good to understand that system of how to engage with it, right? So you don't come to the table with unrealistic expectations.
Got
right?
you.
So like there's this whole movement that's happening across the nation right now around free nature, right? Free the plants, make sure all nature. We're talking psilocybin, we're talking ayahuasca, we're talking all of this is happening across the nation, right? And I think as someone who's a drug reform advocate, I'm a huge proponent of allowing people to make their own choices, right? But
Totally.
I think as it stands right now, unrealistic to think that there's going to be a complete liberation of all plants that are going, you know, that have
100%.
side effects, right? Complete where you can just grow it like a weed outside, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
something that people have been stepping on for generations. But there is a discussion to have about how do we make sure people don't end up in prison? how to make sure people can do it safely and at home humbly,
Right.
and not build an enterprise off of it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like there's
like a humble
nuances.
farmer, they could incorporate that into like an everyday agricultural crop, right?
100%.
Instead of it being hemp, we can now. I mean, there's nothing else where you can cultivate medicine on this scale. You know what I mean? And I know that there's some hurting farms over here that would love to grow cannabis, and make ends meet.
Yep.
So
Totally.
economically, as a farmer, I'd say it would work. Me as a guy, a man of science, I'd say if there's a regulation that would test to be safe, because we classify this as a medicine first, right?
Yep.
So keep it as a medicine, make sure it's safe for the public, and horizontally integrate.
Yep.
Me as a humble farmer that's where I'm at, biasly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which, to be honest, when everyone really looks at the framework of what's happening again all around the nation and stuff, and what's happening here, no one can disagree with that. And I think that's like, we all have to understand that we all essentially have the same guiding compass. Everybody wants to liberate, essentially, in some way, shape, or form, whatever they feel is liberation of this plant,
Right.
and people's consequences, and if they can make a little money off of it. So we all have a common goal, right?
Right.
So in today's age where we're really good at othering each other and in calling division and stuff like that, we should all come to table with the same understanding that we all essentially have a guiding North Star, right?
Yeah. That's the hardest pill for people to swallow.
It is. It is.
Yeah, because they're all objective as far as like my input on it. Someone's like completely fucking on the opposite, but like you said, we're both headed in that direction.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So for me, like we talked before, being a medicine, not necessarily is a bag of peel.
Yep.
It's not the nicest Mylar bag.
100%.
It's not coercion as far as marketing. It should be marketed itself, right? The strain, the genetics, that's all markets.
Right.
So to put it in some presentable, I get it. It's presentable bag.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
It's like store-bought shit, but let's not forget it's medicine.
Yes.
There's farmers working very hard for this stuff.
Exactly.
So, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So is the longevity for the farmer more in the medical direction, or is it in the completely legal free the plant direction?
That's a good. I mean, for me, like, fuck that. I'm gonna give all opinion.
I'm
for
asking
sure, for sure.
You're the guru, bro. That's why
No,
I'm
no,
coming
no,
to you.
no, no,
I'm
no.
coming to you for your opinion.
I'm not, bro. So, like, my
not gonna
thing
go
is
change
like,
any laws
as a
on what
farmer,
you
I'm
say.
fucking working, busting my ass, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
to slap a fucking label on my product and put it out there, yeah, but for longevity and as a Hawaiian farmer in Hawaii, to do something in the conglomerate sense is gonna sweep my fucking legs sooner or later.
Yep,
Yeah, so I
yep,
just want to keep
yep.
it humble.
Yes.
Keep people. My product will speak for itself.
Yes.
I'm not gonna hype up my shit. It's people like it.
Yep.
There's a demographic for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not gonna shove it down your throat with the fucking pretty bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But how do like small farmers compete when like the Walmarts of fucking the cannabis industry starts stomping around in Hawaii, and it's like, fuck, bro.
And that's where I'm at too. Like, what do we ask about
That's
that?
what
How do we go about that with the local farmers to keep those big Walmart entities from coming in? Like, what do we do?
You need like regulations to say like, no, we keeping it local here, bro. You stay on the mainland.
Is that realistic?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Could be.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that Hawaii has the best chance of any place in the nation to make sure that doesn't happen for the longest time, and for the longest period of time. And, and the why I say the longest period of time is because the way that our society is structured, the way that capitalism works, the way that our economic system is, it's always about who can acquire who can expand the most, growth over everything,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
like you're saying, the Walmarts, right, of the world, like what other mom and pop shops exist now? You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be just another industry eventually. So we're talking maybe 50 years down the road or something like that. We're not going to see many mom and pop shops anymore. We would like to think that that's going to be the case, and we can hold out the barrage as long as we want. You know what I mean? Like, hold the door from busting open, right?
Right.
But that door is going to bust open because that's the way that this country had founded our economic system, right? Like, you don't have 20 or even 10 different American car companies right now. You know what I mean? That are like doing well, right? Before, when cars were being made, people were getting in there. You know what I mean? It's just economies of scale, how you acquire, how CEOs and how all that world operates. the utopia that we all want in any industry is only exists in a certain pocket. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Yeah, and we can try to prolong that pocket as much as we can, and it comes down to like value set, like what I hear you talk about, right? Like, you will always have people that respect what you do at the end of the day because you give a shit. You
Right.
give a damn. You care about quality over quantity. You care about the medicinal aspects of what you're doing, right?
Right.
And that will always have intrinsic value forever.
You know what I'm
You know?
hearing in my head? Integrity.
Integrity. Take those pussy sticks and get the fuck out of here.
They're not pussy sticks. They're convenient. No, but fucking yeah, like we could regulate them to stay away, but
Only for so long.
yeah,
At the same
because
time,
they'll
you know what I
start
mean?
dipping into their money into the pockets of the politicians here and
Sure.
fucking
Well, and even if the regulations exist, it's as we can see in a lot of different facets of our society. It's that regulations can always get around. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like they pay
Yeah.
people to figure out. Okay, what
Loopholes.
does this actually say, and what does this actually mean? I'm going to interpret it differently, so I'm going to do X instead of Y.
Huh.
And then the regulators will say, well, you can't be doing that. It's like, all right, well, challenge my lawyer. You know what I mean? Take them to court and see who wins.
I could be here all day.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They got the pockets, so they can prolong that court, however they want.
Right, they'll ice you out for sure.
It's a long game for them, I think.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, the smaller operations just don't have that kind of capital to even
Totally.
keep up. And when they
Totally.
come in and say like, "Hey, we'll buy your farm for whatever it's worth,"
Yeah,
and
yeah. And it's not, and I would even go further and say it's not only even the capital, it's just the relationships, right? So like one of the things that I think that really is like my kuleana in everything I do in Hawaii is to be a translator and to be an ally for things that are really hard to understand, right? Like I've been blessed that I got to opportunity to work at the state capitol, to do legislation. I've written bills that passed and got into law that help people.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
And not everybody has that opportunity and that privilege and that
Right.
opportunity to engage the system in that way. And a lot of people look at that system and it's so massive. It's like, where do I start? How do
Right.
I understand this? Right? I feel like it's my kuleana to come down, and be like, yo, this I'm gonna translate it to you in a way that you understand, that you can
tell us
digest
in
it.
layman terms.
Yes.
And not even
Because they do use a lot of high level speech and
Right.
shit. It's like, what the
A lot of loop-de-loops too when they
Yeah.
write shit, right? So it's
Sure.
like I'm reading, I'm like, I don't understand this.
yeah.
That-
And a lot of people won't be able to understand a lot of the things that are written unless you go to law school. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're trained to kind of read or write in that way.
legalese.
And there's certain ways they do it that way, but then there's also just tradition, why
Yeah.
they, format of something a certain way, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, I really feel like it's my kuleana to translate that kind of world because, as a settler in Hawaii, that system was brought here without anybody's will, right?
Yeah.
It was imposed.
Right.
Yep.
And, I carry, unfortunately, that history on my back as someone that looks like me was born in the East Coast, right?
Right.
So I feel like it's my kuleana to be like, okay, I like help a little bit. You know
That's
what I
what's
mean?
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
gotta
cool, man. That's
translate the
respect.
system
Yep.
to people who really
Respect,
deserve
man. Hell
to know
yeah.
what's going on.
What was it like working at the Capitol?
The first day I get to the Capitol, I'm super stoked because I like policy for some reason. I like being able to not convince people, but to make my case.
Right.
You know what I mean? And show my experience and tell a human story. And I was super stoked. I had a professor at HPU who was a state representative at the time. And he offered me a job. He said, "You're a smart kid. I read some of your papers on what you do on economic injustice and where we should be equal in society. So I could use a good brain in my office." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. I'm going to be in this big square building, all these people making policies."
Yeah.
And I get around, and it's like, when you're a kid and something happens, like you're playing and some kid gets hurt and busts his leg, breaks his finger or something. You're looking for the adults. You're freaking out. Where's the adults? They're going to help. They're going to solve the
Yeah.
situation. I felt like that.
No
like,
shit.
There's no adults anywhere. Everyone's still kids trying to figure the world out. You know what I mean? And coming with their own bullshit perspectives.
Whoa.
And I thought these people had their shit together. Like, I thought these people, you're elected, you know what I mean? Like, you're making
That's
decisions
scary,
for
bro.
thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I get around them all like,
They're just fucking
They're
people.
feeling this out.
they're all just kids, man. Just, yeah. And they're all, got their own traumas, their own past
Yeah, yeah,
experiences. They're, projecting onto people. They're doing their own. Some people are self-preserving. Some, you know what I mean? It's just like any other schoolyard. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
in a different setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But it was
heavy,
cool
No,
to...
it's interesting to think that because they are just people like us. Like
They
we
are.
don't know. Like who knows what the fuck they're doing when a lot of shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? Like
Drinking.
and in
A lot of drinking goes on at the steak.
I would assume
a
at
lot of
like
drinking.
and I would assume shit hits the fan on a regular basis
Yeah,
over there, just
yeah,
like
yeah.
constantly putting out fires
yeah.
and like just
Covering shit up.
Yeah.
bureaucratic backlog that like you
Right. And sometimes, just like anything else in the world, it doesn't need to be like people could like be level-headed and like talk shit out, sit down
Right.
with one another, level with one another, be open and honest, put all your cards face up.
Yep.
Like, let's
Yeah.
get to the solution, right? But oftentimes, again, people are operating from that space when they were a kid. They're trauma, you know what I mean? It's like their response is fucking, bah! You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
you know,
shit.
it's
You would think they'll have like a whole like advisor team behind them. Like, Psh, no, don't do that. Don't say that shit. You know.
you'd think.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
Some
It's
people
kinda
do.
Scary,
Some people do.
dude.
Some people do.
I would think a lot of them forget why they maybe got into that line of business in the first place was to help people, and it becomes a thing like I got to keep my job now, or
Sure.
you know, and all the office politics that happen in a regular corporate setting are happening
Yes.
on a
Yep.
government level.
Right.
It's just shitty that these are the people who are making decisions
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
and
don't get me wrong, there's some good people. There's some
Right.
people that like got into it because they really feel like they want to serve their community and their heart's in it, and they surround themselves with good people that hold them accountable. That will pull them aside and call them out and be like, "Yo,
yeah,
that's some bullshit." You
How
know what I
long
mean?
do
And
they
I know you from small kid days.
Yeah.
So like
So,
straighten up.
yep,
You know what I
yep,
mean?
yeah.
And they're humble to be like, I appreciate you. That's why I brought you on board. But then there's some other people that, just like anything else, you get a promotion at work, you hang out with a different crowd now.
Yeah.
And now you got new influences. You know what I mean? And you're all like, I don't need those guys no more. I'm continue. You know what I mean? And then there's this other thing that I learned around. Once you're in office and you kind of worked your ass off to get there and win an election, and some people work their ass off to get there. You're in these positions where you can help make change, but change doesn't come quick in our system by any means, right? So you're in there for a 2-year term or a 4-year term. Good luck getting like some big shift things happen in 2 or 4 years. If you're
No
starting
shit.
the groundwork for an issue, you're talking an 8-year, piece of work.
Oh, yeah.
So your mindset goes to, well, if I'm only doing one term, 2 or 4 years, and I can't really make a big change, why did I spend all of that steam? Why did I expend all of that energy and put my family through all this stuff and put my name and people dragging my name through the mud? So I got to be here for another 4 years. I got to prove it to my people. I got to
Right.
prove it to myself that I can make a change, right? And then
a good
after
point.
8 years,
Interesting.
it turns into, well, if it's not me, then it's, did you hear the other guy that wants to run against me? The dude,
this
Right.
thinks
motherfucker over
this,
here.
this dude thinks, cars are going to fly next year. You know what I mean? So you're like, well, I got to stay here because the next dude's not going to have the institutional knowledge I have, not going to have the background.
Right. Nobody
So-
can do a better job. I
Right.
gotta stay here another 4
Right,
years.
exactly. And then next thing you know, they're there for 30 years. Yeah,
and they haven't done shit.
yeah.
We got a couple
Exactly.
things
There are
passed.
those, right?
Yeah, there are,
Oh my
and I'm encouraged. There's a
Career
lot of there's a lot of
politicians.
cool young people getting into office these days, and there are some of the old timers that are waking up and changing their mind because these young kids are making it. And I say young kids, they're adults. You gotta
Right.
be but when
Kids
I
to
say
us.
Younger generation.
younger generation,
Yeah.
and more foresight, more longevity thinking, forward thinking individuals that are pushing the needle. Right?
Right.
Will it be successful? To be determined.
Yeah, that's what
To
I
be
worry about. Is
determined.
that
You
like
gotta take that risk though, and that,
Yes.
that opposing
100%.
mindset.
And that's what I'm saying about the growers. Take that risk, poke your head up. You know what I mean? Like now's the time to realize that we all have a common enemy.
Right.
And that's that 20-year vision of that taking over what we love so much.
Right.
And if we can stop being crabs in the bucket and stop,
stop now?
Right.
Yeah.
Stop now. Like, I haven't felt so much, I wouldn't say angst, but like so much pull until I entered this space. And I've been in politics for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
So many people would hit me up or DM me like, oh, what are you doing? Where are you working for? What are you saying? Or XY did this. That means that's you too. All these things. I'm all like, you didn't say hello?
Yeah.
What's up, Randy?
Right.
My name is X. You know what I mean? Like, I just moved into Hawaii 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, give me
Right.
your story. Like, humanize me a little bit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're not just some pictures on Instagram, but that's
Yeah.
social media, right? It
Yeah.
dehumanizes,
Yeah, yeah.
takes that shit away. People feel like they could say whatever the fuck they want
Yeah.
on Instagram,
And they feel
on
like
the
they
internet.
know everything too. That's the crazy thing.
That's the shit,
Bro,
man.
like,
oh my god.
Why did people don't enter rooms anymore and be like, yo, I'm not an expert, but here's my opinion. Most
Yeah.
people come in there and be like, this is my opinion
Yeah.
and it has to be true.
That's what's cool about the forums. Back
Yeah.
to growing. You know,
Yeah.
the forums
Yeah.
mags,
Yeah.
IC mags, roll it up.
Right.
You'd add in your opinion and someone would correct you, but not like, I know better than you. Like, oh, dude, you ever thought about this?
Right.
And I
It's
think
an online thing.
online
Or-
thing, that was that was back when there's black market days. Sorry, I'm fucking juggling it around. But yeah, fucking where you learn your information through black market, right?
Sure.
So from the forums and
Different
stuff.
growers and shit.
But you see a fucking a giant leap in technology and technique in growing because of that. You know,
Right.
So you're saying this is black market days. Do you guys think that like the legalization and the marketing? I was gonna say marketization. The marketing of cannabis has led to that kind of like fucking not share. Like, this is my thing, so I'm not gonna share. Fuck you. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Fuck you over there. Like, my shit's better than that guy's. And
100%.
I hate to say this about Hawaii, but we do have a little problem when somebody's doing good. We say, oh, well, this guy did this
Or
better.
haters.
Yeah, like
Yep.
instantly. A lot of people fucking do that. I'm guilty of it too growing up
Sure.
here. It's like, oh, my friend can play guitar. Oh, my friend can play guitar better than your friend. Like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
who, like, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ. A lot of it is ego, but anyway. Like, what do you guys think
A
about that?
lot of
Like, that once it, like, kind of became more accepted and marketable.
Repeat the question.
Does that, did
Our brain
those two
fart.
things
Wait. Can we light another joint for this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did those two things, the legalization in in a lot of places, even as far as like
Yeah.
decriminalization,
Right.
even like medical dispensaries, because there's marketing that goes into that shit too.
Sure.
And with all that, led to this kind of like fierceness and competition and less hateration and
Yeah.
holleration. We don't need none of that shit. Listen to Mary J. Blige, bro.
It's the marketability of everything. It's the ability to individualize yourself. And okay, this guy has the best shit, and he has the nicest looking shit. He has his shit together, you know, all of that stuff. Look at like Jungle Boys, you know, Jungle Boys. They present themselves well. So because of which, I mean, they have a lot of haters that come
Sure.
along with that, but they also have a gigantic following.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's the thing that people got to decipher on their own. You know, what's important to you. You
There
know,
you go.
with this plant, what's important to you with this plant? Like,
Yeah.
personally, I think it's a fucking medicine. It's a godsend.
Right.
We should treat it as such. It's sacred. You know what I mean? So, bastardizing is the word you use. Totally fucking accurate.
I said that?
you know? Yeah.
Good
We
word.
do bastardize this fucking plant by putting it through things that we normally wouldn't do. And
Yeah.
by doing that, we off-track the fucking progress of this plant and putting it into a space where it's no longer a health benefit for us. It's
Right.
a pocket benefit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And where authorities can use it as a fucking example and a negative statistic and all that shit.
When it's economic, you can use it as leverage.
I think people like to criticize what they don't have, what they may never get to, and what they think they could handle and cannot. You know what I mean? And sometimes at the end of the day, you know, people, again, it's just like that where I keep going back to humble. You know what I mean? To humble ourselves. Like, we're not all meant to, you know, be a vertically integrated, you know, multi-million dollar, you know what I mean?
Weed conglomerate.
Right. and at the same time, like, not everybody wants to do that, and rightfully so. Like,
A lot of the farmers
who
just
would-
want to work to be happy.
Exactly.
Word.
And that's the goal that we should all
Yes.
be working towards. Like, how do we make sure that if an individual wants to put in their little pocket and make a niche for themselves and be happy and be somewhat successful, that should happen.
That's what drives me crazy is like this plant can be such a benefit economically
100%.
for our health. And it's like, as a farmer, it's a low square footage plant. I could grow that crop. I can make whatever I need to make, and then I'm okay.
Right.
I can live modest. I'm not making a negative impact on the environment. I'm doing everything right. Right. I'm generating an income.
Yeah.
I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm not fucking up the earth. I'm actually contributing to the greater good.
Yeah. Not fucking up the earth. Hey, talk about a fucking topic in the cannabis industry right now.
Oh my goodness,
Bro, there's some reports coming out about like the amount of carbon emissions, the amount of just the world in general
Right.
in that space. How it's, I mean, and that's another thing that I think.
Like how it's not green?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Cannabis industry.
Yeah.
Oh my god. dude.
Because of the processing and all that shit.
Yeah. I can go on and on though, even
Yeah.
with like nutrients.
Is there less of
Yeah.
an impact if you're just doing like straight, grow it, trim it, fucking dry it?
Well, the hemp
Trim it.
industry also contributed to that because all that biomass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So refining biomass takes a lot of fucking resources,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And those resources have a negative impact
Yeah,
in some
yeah.
sort of sense.
But does the negative that it does in that way get offset in any way by like what it does for the benefits of the soil, for the
No, because it's a carbon emission, right?
yeah, but the plant is also sucking up a lot of carbon. The more plants you have, the more carbon dioxide they're taking out of the atmosphere, which is better.
But is it?
Not on any scale that's going to be impactful.
okay,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? We're still in an infant industry. You know,
It's got to be the size of the Amazon.
Yeah,
then, but-
exactly.
Okay.
It's just nowhere near a
tried.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are.
That
I mean,
was very
there-
optimistic
yeah.
of you, Eric. Right on, man.
I got hope for the future, bro.
Right.
But so so the larger scale you get, the more of a negative impact you have. Like on a small scale, is it in any way better like to keep a smaller operation? You know, you're not having heavy machinery to like till your, you know, any kind of the processing in that way.
I don't think the farming part is the part of the carbon emissions that we're talking about. I think
What
it's
is it?
more processing.
Right,
the
you know,
processing.
processing biomass.
And just as
you know.
economic activity in general.
Right.
Building facilities, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Keeping the lights on all the time, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
economic
that too.
activity in
Yeah.
general. You know what I mean? And it's
True that.
if it's
Okay.
happening in other industries where they're trying to get a grasp of it, you know what I mean? Think about like the tile companies and stuff like that
Yeah.
that are trying to be sustainable now. They're like, how do we, our business model isn't sustainability, you know what I mean? We
Right.
take resources from the earth and
put 'em
sell
under
them to other people.
I had a question though. Like, if you look at the Earth as a whole, like, where are the regulations for the foreign countries that are just throwing fucking shit into
Yeah.
the air?
Oh, they got them, but they just don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. But like, what do we do as a planet to regulate those guys to be like? And this may be completely off topic, but to like regulate those guys is fucking. Hey, this is Earth, motherfucker. You're
Right.
shitting in my food. You know?
Yeah.
They get fined, and they're so fucking wealthy. They just pay those motherfuckers, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a
Another
fine.
river polluted.
What is a fine?
Nothing. But that's like the system, the way the system's set
Mm-hmm.
up. That's all they can do, because they still want the shit they're making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we
True.
can't like really.
There's still a demand for their fucking production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, if there's a certain country and they're really fucking up, we could sanction them and like maybe like
Mm.
not take their shit for a little while. But there's one country in particular we'll never really do that to.
Which one?
Mm.
I don't know. It's a really big red one.
The red dragon.
That one.
The red dragon.
Yeah.
I heard you're not supposed to talk about it on the internet or they'll come get you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, back to cannabis.
Yeah. Yeah. Where were we?
I forget.
I lost a little bit.
Yeah. That
Ah.
second joint went around.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so getting around the
marketing
common
and shit. That's
the
where we
common
were.
goal is that
Yes.
we want to stop the conglomeration of Hawaii cannabis in general as long as we can, right?
Right.
And really, at the end of the day, when we look around at who's around right now, that's nobody. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody the Planet 13s and the big guys in the game right now. So we all have a common goal to like hold out as long as we can and make a structure where everybody wins and everyone's happy
Yep.
and everyone can make and carve their niche. And I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Everybody I've talked to agrees with that. You know what
Nice.
I mean?
But there's still fucking haters out there. God damn it.
There are haters.
It's a lot of the fucking just the fault. It's not even the farmers themselves. It's just like people who jump on like fucking hate bandwagons
Well, that's
to
the
social
consumers,
media.
right?
Yeah, the consumers.
Right.
That's
yeah.
the people
Yeah.
on the bottom of that just are consuming the product,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And that's the people that need to be educated the most,
Right.
Yes.
As consumers,
Yes.
the grassroots level,
Yes, yes. There's so much education that needs to be done in this space.
man.
We were talking about that earlier. I mean, even just nationally, where all the trends are taking the markets and stuff like that. I mean, so misinformed about the plant and
Yeah.
about healing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like if I took, noni and said it does X, and now everyone's buying noni and don't understand that it's a plant that has 1,000 different medicinal uses
Right.
and different molecules, and you know what I mean?
right.
People are just hanging on to one piece of a plant and saying that that's the holy grail, and I'll pay as much as you can as long as you make, percentage as high as can and get me as couch lock as can. Done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here's $200. You know what I mean?
That's the fucking thing right
Yeah.
there. Education on varieties of terpenes. Like
Yep.
terpenes is one of the things that it's old. It was out for a while, but people still don't know a lot about
You
it.
talk a lot about terpenes
Yeah,
and the
I mean-
importance of that shit.
And you
Super
don't.
important.
It's a pretty basic concept if you think about it. It's just fucking viscosity and oil viscosity,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
there's thin oil and there's thick oil, and you think about all of that, and the plant's so complex. It has different viscosities within one gland, and the terpenes are just different flavonoids. You know, like you have all, and they do different things to you in combination, and
Right.
so
All the different cannabinoids working together. You know what I
Together.
mean? Like that's why the whole CBD trend. I'm like, okay, but what else you missing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just gonna eat a CBD gummy and call it good, or
No.
you like that's not medicine? You know what I mean? It can be medicine for some people, but like, how does that interact with all of the other cannabinoids that exist in the plant
Right.
that was naturally growing out of the
The
ground?
more, the better.
Right.
And what you guys are talking about keeps it more in the medical realm.
Correct.
Because, excuse me, realistically, like rec industry don't give a fuck about
It's all
what
numbers.
the health benefits are, right? We just want to sell that shit.
33% THC content. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, man. Like,
And the more I
right.
think about that, the more I can kind of agree with the idea of keeping it as more of a medical thing. But I also like the idea of just freeing it up and like, hey,
Sure.
you grow tomatoes in your backyard, grow some weed
Yeah,
next
yeah.
to it.
There-
Like,
there's a medium. There's a place in the middle
Yeah,
that
there
has
is.
to be met. You know what I mean?
Yes, you gotta give and take.
And each state, each place has a different medium. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because just different factors, right?
Right.
And I think that you're right. Like, there's ideals on both sides, but it's got to be somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's never
Right.
going to be black white. It's going to be gray. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's where the work that everyone should be doing right now that gives a damn about this industry should come together and start having conversations together.
Right.
And listening to people and being like, okay, you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully this spearheads something in the
Yes.
grassroots level that people are like, hey, maybe we should hooey up and talk story about this. This is
Yeah.
kind of important.
Right.
I was gonna
right.
say, are there any kind of like things like this where different growers and farmers can come together, other than the cannabis clinic or not clinic,
I got you.
convention? Because that's not happening, right? Because Rona and fucking whatever. But like, are there other kind of like meetups other than like? Okay, you're nodding. Yes, tell me.
Oahu
Tell me
Garden
more.
Supply.
Oh.
94150.
What?
What are the
Yale
hours?
Street?
I stumbled into this one. I didn't even know. So what
Oh,
happens
you got
here?
it. I was waiting for that
Go
one.
for it. So tell.
I want to hold. I mean, coming down to the shop.
Yep.
You know, we'll
Yep.
hold huies.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about the times you've done that and you had
No,
classes here. You
I mean,
had
that's, I had classes, but it was
Yeah.
strictly grow or you know bugs or shit like that. But what I want to do is talk about our rights.
Right,
You know, talk
right.
about what you guys want and
Yeah.
like common ground. you
Right.
Yeah,
know?
but what you're doing
Exactly.
is you're bringing all those people together and making a cohesive group
Right.
with the same common interests. And maybe your class was about bugs or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
but the side conversations I bet were a lot about like this fucking legislation. No,
Because you know a lot of people are so
That's
introverted, and a lot of people like growers are humble.
Yeah.
And they don't want us like your view might be one view, and my view might be another. And I like you as a person, and I want this
Right.
being our differentiating
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't want to cause animosity with
Right.
anybody, so it's okay. Stick to the business. We're here for bugs.
Yeah,
Bugs.
yeah.
Well, that's a stigma that needs to break too and stop. You know,
No, if we categorize it like, hey, you know what? Let's go hooey.
because how you gonna make friends if you don't talk to nobody?
Right.
I mean, we
How you going to
talk.
build community?
Yeah.
That's
Right.
that's what we need more than anything in this space is
Right.
a community. And community uplifts each other. Community
Right.
don't tear each other down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Community builds together and builds capacity and builds power and builds.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the more you divide, the less community you have.
Yeah,
I wonder if
totally.
it's just because there's kind of this leftover like psychological trauma of like it being illegal and like we gotta fucking
100%. If any issue or space is showing that to be true, it's in the psilocybin space right now. I think it's been underground for so long, and it's had a culture and somewhat of a community for so long, but it's been suppressed for so long, and it's been all this stuff right now is being unearthed. I don't know if you guys are following that space, but really long-standing prominent people in that space are being held accountable. You know what I mean, for some shit that went down. But if it wasn't illegal, they would have, that stuff wouldn't have to be in the dark if they have
Right.
reporting mechanisms and stuff like that. And they're having a big reckoning, a big moment of like understanding what they've created and where they're headed and what they're doing. And
nice toss.
Yeah, not really kind of rolled into the ash. I heard like that the federal government is now like having eyebrows up on researching psilocybin.
Big time.
Because of ketamine uses, right? So they're using ketamine as
Yep.
a treatment. So they're
there's a clinic in town that
Like-
does ketamine
like
treatments.
eyebrows
Whoa.
up and like
Yeah.
ooh,
Like,
let's
ooh.
like nice or ooh, like we gotta shut that shit down.
No, like,
Yeah.
we're going to use it for our soldiers for PTSD and all
Fuck
this.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking
Hell yeah,
100%
yeah,
for
yeah.
it, dude.
All they needed was the data to support. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the times, it's just people want to push the envelope, but they don't have the data or the support to support it. So they're not going to come out. They're not going to be the first one. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? No
yeah,
one like
yeah.
be the first guy.
No,
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Just make or break for the guy
Right.
crossing that line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, psilocybin is another another saving grace for humankind.
Big time.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be one of the things that we can look back on when it happens and it's accessible in a proper reciprocal relationship with INOA, that we're going to look back on and say, thank goodness we did that for humans. You know what I mean? Thank goodness we opened people's eyes and minds to that space, because they're finding that for like PTSD and depression, it takes one session sometimes of a good dose, but sitting with a professional and working through stuff. That's something that would have taken 15 years and pharmaceuticals.
I agree 100%, man.
Probably
with that.
longer, because those pharmaceuticals would have led to
done
other
more
ones,
problems.
and then
Yeah,
other
exactly.
ones.
Exactly.
That's like the amazing stories when you hear like people doing these and then getting off of like meds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
That's
Yep,
fucking
yep.
great.
Even the ayahuasca thing. People go in with some turmoil and come
Big
out
time.
just
Yeah.
completely cool.
Yep.
That's not
Yep.
that's not for everybody though.
It isn't,
Disclaimer: we don't want to get
but, like,
sued.
Sure, there's always outliers out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is
You know what I
all
mean?
a fucking opinionated show anyway,
Yeah.
so if you do it, it's up to you. It's on
Yeah.
your shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I think that, our generation's fucking smart, man.
Yeah, we are.
We're using that.
We
like,
get a lot of flack. Our generation and the generations that are coming up, they get really shit on a lot. You know
I
what I mean?
shit on the ones below us a lot.
Yeah. But if you look at like trends about like productivity and like how economic like these generations are doing it big, and they're changing the landscape, whether for good or bad. You know what I mean? They're
Right,
changing the landscape, and we can always debate the merits, of what Facebook, social media has done for society. Is it good? Is it bad? Has it connected people? Has it caused good movements? Has it liberated people? Has it put more people in division? All the things, but you can't deny that now Facebook is such a normalized version. Like social media is so normalized, right?
Right.
Now this whole metaverse shit, right?
Oh, man.
Yo, that's going to be as normal as Facebook and Instagram in about 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another world that we can choose not to participate in if we don't want.
But everybody else gonna be doing it.
And if you want to understand that world, right? Because maybe something can happen there. You know what I mean? Like,
You're gonna at least dip in because your kids are gonna be into it,
Well, if you're a businessman,
or your grandkids gonna come over.
you're
Like,
going to get into that because now there's like a whole online shopping in the metaverse.
yeah, you can visit a store in the metaverse and walk around and look at products
and buy it,
and buy it.
and it gets shipped
Ships
to you online by
right
like
to you.
Amazon.
Yeah. Try them on, bro. Can you imagine trying on a virtual
But how do you
jeans
try
or
on
something?
like jeans when
Yeah,
you're a
if
giraffe?
I'm fucking Big Bird,
I don't know.
I'm
I'm
gonna
grabbing a
just
little
fucking-
tee. I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
"God,
When
dude,
I
this
go
doesn't
in-
fit.
Right.
I get a shirt, it's big as this fucking table. It's like, you were Big Bird in the metaverse. And then you go,
Like, yeah, how are they gonna size me when I'm a giraffe in the metaverse?
yeah.
Because I'm making a fucking weird avatar. If I ever
Hell
jump
yeah.
in that metaverse, I'm making the weirdest avatar.
When
I
you
can
jump
think of.
in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
true
A
that.
year from now, we're going to have another
Oh.
podcast. We're going to be talking about what avatar you got.
Yep, and you know what?
Oh, fuck,
It's
dude.
gonna. You're right.
Keep
It's-
farming, farmers.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we
Keep
come,
connecting
Black
to your
Mirror.
Aina, folks.
Yeah.
If there's one solution to all our life's problems is get back in touch with the Earth
Oh,
and the
you see
planet.
my Lo'i in the metaverse.
Can you do
Man.
that and ship Kalo to people? Can you open a Kalo farm in the metaverse and like
Yeah,
ship
but-
your product that way?
What happens to your
Probably.
soul? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like-
exactly.
How are you gonna farm in the metaverse while fucking actually farming in real life?
You would have to, I don't know. You'd have to have a real farm and pay someone to run your metaverse.
You run your real farm. I'll run your metaverse.
Right.
farm.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But again,
I'll talk to all the
it's like
psychos on the internet.
you get to choose to engage with that world or not. And like my mom, right? She's never done Facebook ever, and I give her kudos. You know what I mean? She's just all like, it exists, and she exists on. She has a business on eBay. She's done marketing online, stuff like that.
Right.
Stuff like that. But she doesn't fuck with Facebook.
Right.
She just doesn't know what that world's like. Like, okay,
That's cool.
yeah,
It's cool that, like, she put that fucking stiff arm
yeah,
out. You know, like,
yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
She saw that shit coming. She was like, fuck that.
No
Whatever that shit
shit,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no drama. You know what I mean?
Imagine
Toxic
that.
as
Right.
No banter.
Right.
That's
But some people
insane.
exist on Facebook and Instagram without any conflict.
This
They
is
get-
true.
they get
This
by.
is true.
Yeah.
Well, they put healthy boundaries around it. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
That and you're probably just dancing, looking at your phone,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
doing the shit.
Whatever those fucking TikTok dances are.
I was
Fuck.
at fucking Almoana and I was like, the fuck is this lady doing?
They had to film her and put her on fucking.
No,
if it was in
my
the
phone's
wild.
in my fucking pocket like a human being,
know.
and I'm observing my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you get a video? No, I watched it,
I
dude.
watched
I lived it,
bro.
Fucking. Are there any like weed social medias? Like,
What you mean?
like I don't know, like an Instagram for like weed heads or like fucking growers or
there's
like
plenty.
Yeah,
those.
There's
dude.
plenty.
You guys fuck
On
with
real
any of that
kind.
shit or
I mean, on Facebook, I do like a growers
Group.
thing. Yeah, a group and like a KNF group and all that shit. So like, strictly grow based.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah, no politics, just
Right.
fucking.
I don't want to fucking argue. Like,
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
I've spent
wanna
so much time
argue.
arguing in my lifetime on social media. It's just exhausting, bro. It's so and you're never gonna convince.
No.
You know what I mean? You're never gonna appeal to someone's better opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A 12-year-old Kalei would never thought be having this fucking conversation about arguing people that aren't
Right.
even there.
Yeah.
You're not even there. Why am I going to argue with you?
They
You're
might not even
here.
be real.
Right.
It could be a fucking AI bot from Russia. What the fuck
Right.
is that goddamn noise?
They
Someone's
just
car.
did the exhaust next door. So
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out to Waipahu Lawn Equipment
Are they working on
for
a car
fucking
in there?
working after hours.
Wow.
Dedication, hard work. I'm sure you guys heard the rest of the song.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
know we're in here, right? Nah.
They do, but we got to give
Shout
them
out.
their space.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
be good
yeah.
neighbors and be cordial.
Totally. So wait, did we get any questions? Do we have?
So one of the questions was, is smoking for everybody? That's a
Oh,
pretty.
that's a good question.
yeah.
I mean, nothing is for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good answer.
Some things are for some people, some things are not.
Yeah.
I think everybody could benefit in some
Right.
ways. I mean, if they have healthy body, you know what I
Right.
mean, and can handle. But
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should have the option to experiment if smoking's good for them,
Right.
and be able to, not have the fear of going to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
For
For
sure.
sure.
Trying something.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Or like losing your job even. Like it
Right.
should be hold that kind of status within the corporate working where I know some professions may require it, for safety reasons.
CDL
but like,
and
if you're a
stuff.
motherfucking
Yeah.
office worker, like you don't need to drug
Right.
test me before I get this
Right,
job. Like what
right,
the
right.
fuck is that?
Right.
Weed actually helps me do this on
Sure,
a daily
sure.
basis.
Well, think about a construction worker that like, oh, dude, my hands are sore.
Sure.
You know, so I go and take fucking pain meds my doctor gave me.
Yeah. Yeah.
For, like arthritis.
100%.
I'm at the fucking job site,
Yep.
get hurt.
Yep.
I'm cool.
Totally.
But if I smoke weed and I get hurt,
Yeah. It's messed up.
I
man.
lost my
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
job.
and even like the drivers and stuff like that. Like as long as they're not impaired on the job, give a
Right.
shit. You
Right.
know what you do.
and there's
right?
tests to test that, right? Like
I mean, swabs, I think, right?
It really depends. It's kind of still new.
not that
They can
fucking-
test for THC content that attached to your fat cells, stuff like that. But as we know, that can be in your system for weeks. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
test if I'm impaired. And
Right.
police officers can pull you over and do an impairment test on you. And if they think that you're under the influence of X, they'll book you if they want to. If you
Right.
want to be a dick
and most
about it.
people are so scared at that point already that they'll probably fail just because
Oh.
their nerves
Oh,
are
man.
shot and they're fucking. Oh,
One of
shit.
my ex-girlfriends failed a field sobriety test sober. Yeah,
Fuck,
and they took her
bro.
in thinking she was drunk. She was just freaked the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is pretty intimidating,
Yeah.
man.
See, if it didn't hold that legal status, the fear wouldn't be there, and it shouldn't really. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter if you're. There's no legal limit when it comes to
Right.
that shit. Or I smoked the other day, and I'm maybe still feeling it a little bit. You know what
Sure.
I mean? And
Sure.
but I'm cool to drive, or like
Right.
as opposed to the drinking limits. There are set limits, and they vary for some reason
Sure.
in different places.
Yeah. Once you decriminalize most things that people are going to do anyway, the outcomes are much better. And then you can actually start treating things that are the bad side effects as public health issues. Right?
Yes.
Look at Portugal, for example. They've decriminalized all drugs long time ago.
Okay.
And they have a phenomenal mental health system. They have a phenomenal addiction treatment system.
Right.
If people shoot up, there's a place that they can go shoot up safely so they don't die.
Dispose your needles so it's not on the fucking ground.
Exactly. And
Right.
when they're ready to quit, there's someone right there ready to help them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I would be 100% for that because it is a sickness. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It is.
In Hawaii, we need to fucking really think about this.
Oh, man.
Because we live in such close proximity and
Yep.
aunties and uncles, so we
Yep.
care about these
Yep.
people, right?
Yep.
So we gotta attack it a little more compassionately. But what sucks about our government and everything is the justice system and being in jail has become a business now.
Yeah, big time.
Privatized prisons. Like,
Yep.
imagine all the fucking dudes in jail for weed. Still
heavy.
yet
Yo, I just read the report. Hawaii came out with the report about like arrests in 2019, 18, and still, it's numbers that are completely unacceptable.
Yep.
People and young kids and people who are getting put to jail for simple possession,
Yep.
Stuff like that. And that system isn't designed for the majority of individuals who are getting picked up for it to be successful in, right?
Right.
Cash bail, right?
Right.
You go, and even if you're innocent, you can't prove your innocence, then you can't go back to work because you can't afford your $2,000, bail.
Right.
So you got to sit in there till your court date comes up, and then you're freaking out. You're like, oh, it's been 6 months, right? I might as well just plea out, and then you got a record for being innocent. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's a terrible system, and it doesn't have any restorative justice. It doesn't have any pathway for individuals to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the Hawaii prisons private prisons?
Not here, but
Okay.
we do contract the prison in Arizona,
Right.
and
Right.
that is a private prison.
'Cause, I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge that they make money off the number of
Yeah.
individuals who are incarcerated.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
more the
Yep.
merrier. So that's why there's these
Right.
just kind of overkill laws that
Yep.
throw innocent people in jail for like victimless crimes.
Right.
I watched this video recently. It was Busy Bone from fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony
Busy
talking
Bone.
about the fucking meeting that changed hip hop and how they coupled like
Whoa.
the private prisons that were starting to
Yep.
become a thing with
Yep.
the fucking direction hip hop went and like promoting this kind of like negative like behavior to get kids locked up, to get them in the private prisons. And they even offered these fucking heads of these music industry, like the different fucking guys, like fucking like stock in the prisons. Like, oh, give you fucking
Yeah, dude.
like
Whoa.
buy-in
Yeah,
in these,
dude.
and they're everywhere. That's why I
Yep.
was wondering if the Hawaii ones are, but that's good that they're not. But
That's so
that's
sad.
bad that the Arizona one is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I
a
mean,
really fucked up system.
It's
and
not to say that the prisons and the jails here are not good by
Oh,
any means.
no,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, but not trying to-
ACLU has done some really good work at trying to hold the prisons accountable here. And there's prisons that are built for 2 people that 4 or 5 people are in that cell.
Right.
People are laying on the floor. You know what I mean? And these are pre-detainee individuals. These people aren't found guilty.
Right.
Like these are people
Right.
waiting their trial. So we're treating them like
They're
fucking
guilty already.
criminals, yeah.
Right.
it's nuts.
Damn.
Yeah. Everyone was talking about, like, during COVID, sounding the alarm that, like, yo, our prisons are going to be a hot spot. Like, do something about it. Like, set some protocols in place. And it didn't really go well. I mean, the
Right.
prisons had some really serious outbreaks.
Yeah.
Imagine being in prison for something you didn't do or something low-level stuff. And because of the lack of the system from taking, reasonable care of a human being, you die over a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A no fault of your own.
Right.
Can't take care of yourself.
Can't
you know
do
what I mean?
shit.
And you could be sitting there and be all like, I didn't do shit. I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean?
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck
That's
the
why,
laws.
and when we talk about making this space into more mainstream and normalizing cannabis, that if we're going to be doing anything on a legal scale or doing something with legalization or bringing bills to bear, there has to be a criminal justice reform. There has to be restorative justice. There has to be social equity piece
Right.
in it. You know what I mean? We can't allow something to pass that doesn't right some of the wrongs of the past.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
got to be a crucial part. And really smart minds got to get together and figure out how to make that work.
And a step in the right direction would be like letting a lot of these weed offenders free and just kind
Correct.
of moving in the direction
Expunging their records.
Yeah,
Yep,
like,
totally.
We're sorry.
What-
here's-
sorry-
we got
I'm
trillions of
sorry.
dollars.
Yeah.
The military didn't spend 14 today, so
Yeah, yeah.
$14 trillion. So here's some fucking reparations for your
Right.
time. Sorry.
Yeah,
You fucked
that
up.
would be okay. Like if
They'd
they
never
could
do that,
compensate
no.
a little bit for, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Get my life back on
Totally.
track. 'Cause
Totally.
what the fuck? Where were you the past 10 years?
Yeah.
In fucking jail?
Yeah, yeah. I
Doesn't
saw a
matter.
good quote. I forget who it was, but it was somebody who was in the industry, and it said when cannabis shops or dispensaries start looking like Apple stores, a lot of people should be freed from prison. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Like that
Totally.
whole comparison, it's all like people should be getting out of prison.
Yeah. That makes complete sense, too.
Imagine
Yeah.
getting out now for a weed offense in like 30 years ago, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I had an ounce on me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that goes back to our pieces. Like, we all got to come together to make sure that happens.
Right.
Like, it's not going to be one siloed individual. I can't make it happen. You know what I mean? People got to come together
Right.
and make it happen and make sure that we have a program, we have a cannabis industry, a community that makes sense and works for everybody.
So what's the ACLU?
ACLU is the American Civil Liberties Union. They're
Mm-hmm.
a nonprofit They're kind of like I would say like good government watchdogs essentially.
Okay.
They sue when lawsuits need to be brought up. So like they sued the state around the prisons. They sued the state for just injustices that happen and try to hold government accountable.
Yeah, when people's rights are being fucked over by the government or even by another group of people, they'll fucking step in and like go to bat for people who can't necessarily afford legal counsel or advice, or maybe don't even know they're being fucked over sometimes.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Yep.
They're just in a situation and they don't even know how they're being fucking whatevered.
Gnarly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to know. I was like, all right, I see them around, but I don't know exactly what they do.
I like them. I think they do good work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing that not any of that, but like that older generation who is still living with the stigma of cannabis, they're kind of like changing their ways or dying off kind of slowly. But I also feel at the same time as those people are leaving, there's a new generation that is kind of fucking up the reputation that the next generation, the ones who are stepping into the place of the people who are dying off, are like, well, this is a new reason to fucking hate weed because look at these fucking dumbasses and morons and all this fucking beef that's being started up on the internet and deaths now probably, Murder Mountain was a pretty good documentary.
It's a real thing.
Yeah. Like, fuck.
Murder Mountain's crazy.
I watched that.
Oh, dude, that one guy in the Mountain Dew and shit, like the crackhead guy, and he was
They're
talking
awful.
about. Oh, dude, I was cracking up. I was like, this guy is so fucked.
And those guys have been in, like, that's a good depiction of how the industry has been around for fucking
Yeah, it's culture.
decades.
It's generational,
It's-
bruh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are fucking been on the mountain forever. Just set in their ways.
But that kind of beef is like, I mean, I don't want beef with any, but that's kind of like old-timey beef, and it's like kind of like the Hatfield versus
Hillbilly
McCoy kind of
beef,
shit. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, that's kind of campy and cool. Like, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Let them fucking go.
Fuck, that's their shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But like beef, like over like my brand is better than your brand. Like, fuck you, go to hell. Like,
That's where the marketing thing fucks everything up, right?
Yeah.
So that's like really the problem, right?
It's
So
like-
there should be a ban on like the amount of marketing that can go into one's product, or should just like
It's hard to say. Does that exist anywhere else in society? You know what I mean?
because here's the deal.
That's
Even
why
if
having
it-
cups were so good, right?
Yeah.
Having it in a cup, it's
Yeah.
unbiased. People,
Yeah.
the people vote.
Yeah.
Even if it stays medical and becomes even, I don't know, whatever that might look like,
Sure.
and not completely wreck, it goes like takes a step backwards for some odd reason. America, you can still fucking advertise medication on TV, so there's still be a ton of weed fucking advertisements, and there'd still be marketing about different strains and
Sure.
fucking, I don't want to say names, but you know what I mean, different dispensaries would come out with their fucking, ask your professional doctor about that.
Right.
Bruh.
I think, at least for the way I've seen other states play out that have like now dual systems or only medical or you're now doing a transfer to a recreational system. The medical system or the medical structure they had built was never sustainable, right? Like, because you're working with just a smaller subset of clients, essentially consumers at that point, and you have all these barriers to entry to the program, and there's always an easier way to go outside of that program and get what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even as a patient that really needs it for some real, you can get RSO in somewhere else outside of a medical program, right? So unless that was the only access point to the medicine, and the economies of scale, like the ability to make a business that's sustainable and successful just doesn't exist in that small consumer base. Like, look at Hawaii, for example, right? There's roughly 30 to 35,000 patients in Hawaii with their cards, right? So they can visit a current dispensary or something. Roughly, 12,000 of those are actually going to the dispensaries.
All right.
And of those individuals, like how many $20 grams you got to sell to make back your initial $5 million investment?
Unreal.
I mean, nobody's making a penny. Not a
Right.
single person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're looking at each other all like, who would want to get into this business?
Right.
And not only they're not making a penny, they can't write a single thing off on taxes.
Right.
Right? Like a business like this, right? Gas, good. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Trellises, good. You know what I mean? Your forklifts, good. Write it off, right?
Right.
In the cannabis world, you can't
Nothing.
write off a single thing. There's a provision in the federal law called 280E, and like every single penny has to be
accounted for.
And it's all capital investments. You can't get a loan. You know what I mean?
You have to have the money yourself.
You gotta have the money, or you gotta have investors, right?
Yeah.
So like even when I've been fielding a lot in the past year or so about like people like, oh, how do I get into this industry? I want to own a dispensary. I want to get in. I'm like, do you? You really want to?
Yeah.
You want to have an effective tax rate of like 70% on everything you do?
Tree? No way.
You know what I mean? You really want to spend all the time. You want to get into this realm where everyone is just pulling their hair out and saying like, why can't this work?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how about you let some of the other guys who maybe have a little bit of ability to get in, like make those missteps, you know what I mean, and work it out. You know what I mean? Like, let's polish this a little bit. You know
Let
what I
them
mean?
be the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's a huge barrier, though. Like,
Huge barrier.
fuck.
But it's always been a barrier around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I mean, in any industry, too, yeah. Like this.
Any industry, right?
But the fact that you can't even get loans for it.
Yeah. It's going to change soon. I would say probably in the next 4 years, we'll have like a federal bill, a legislation that comes out that has safe banking, a banking initiative
Yep.
that allows people to bank and then start getting loans. But that is also a big barrier. Can you get approved? Can anybody get approved for a loan for $250,000 tomorrow? You know what I mean?
No.
I can't.
And if you show up
hard.
there with that money, they'll be like, let us look into where you got this money first.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, and you better not have done any shady shit
Right.
to acquire any of that
Right.
fucking
Cost
cash.
of living in Hawaii is so high. It's like,
Yeah.
who else is going to have the finances to stack on another $250,000 loan?
Yep.
Someone
Yep.
who's been making millions of dollars already in California.
That narrows the people that's
Cool.
eligible for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
complete fucking business.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think it should be wide open. And
Rigged,
Totally.
bro. It's a rigged game juice already.
Well-
At this point, with the fees and the fucking barriers, it's like impossible for anybody who'd want to. Yeah, like you said, why would anybody want to fucking do that shit?
my fairy
Yeah.
tale is like having a farmer's market where you yourself as a farmer,
That'd be beautiful.
everybody can come and free picking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
As a farmer, I'd want to be compliant to whatever regulations the
Yeah.
state would
Yeah,
hold,
yeah.
and I'll pay taxes. You know,
Totally.
as long as it's not
100%.
fucking gonna drown me.
Yep.
I'll pay some taxes and allow me to let my product speak for itself
Exactly.
with the public.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's safe. They're cool with it. You know, I mean, I swap meet at Pro Ridge. I used to go there and buy produce.
Right.
I don't know what they put on it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
just trust that guy because he looks like an honest farmer, and
Sure.
I'll support him. So
Yeah.
doing that and keeping up with everything, and I think that's the fairy tale story
Right.
for me.
And
Yeah.
people, I think, just like any other produce, people want to know where it's grown, where it's coming from, what's the integrity of the people behind it,
Yep.
what's the inputs, what are the outputs, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And in a weird way, not even in a weird way, in a real way, like that's something that we still have in Hawaii. We still preserve. We have a vertically integrated currently dispensary market, and then everyone else who's growing here is growing here, right?
Right.
We still get imported, buds here and there, but we all know what those ones are, and we know the ones that are grown here. So we all can, at least at this point, say that like we have the integrity of our supply chain
Yes.
there. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
that's something to hold on to. And
Right.
even small time grower to dispensary guys, the dispensaries can say, we know exactly what we're giving you. We have to know. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And small time growers, exactly.
Right.
The inputs are going in,
Right.
and it all at the end of the day comes down to, like you said, that integrity piece, right?
Yep.
And people want to know. People have the right to know. Really, at the end of the day.
And I think that the dispensaries, being the guinea pigs that they are, it's a good thing that they're there
Exactly.
because it gives another option for someone that has no means of a grower.
Exactly.
And, hey,
Exactly.
They got to get their medicine.
Yep.
Bottom line, that's our guiding light.
Yep,
Is
exactly.
everyone wants this medicine? They
Right.
need to get it somehow.
Yep.
So
Yes.
I don't like when people knock the dispensaries.
Right.
I never do knock the dispensaries.
Right.
I think that they're on an uphill climb with me as a small farmer.
100%.
So, main thing they're putting out, they have guidelines to be met. Some
Yep.
of it's unrealistic, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Some of the regulations that
I
they
think
go through
anybody's
is.
opinion.
I
Really,
know.
when you look at
I'd
them
say
things.
70% of the farmers out here right now growing outdoor wouldn't pass
Oh, of
the
course not.
stringent tests that
Yeah.
they have, and that's just being real.
Right. Yep.
Like as a farmer, you can't do that. You'd have to have an
Totally.
indoor facility that's
Yep.
totally controlled.
Yep.
And
Yep.
who has that overhead to operate in Hawaii's prices?
Yeah.
An indoor grow of that size.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen.
It's not.
Right.
It's not feasible. And I think that there will be a time where that discussion is going to come up, and we can, there's also going to be a difference between what a rec market and a medical market looks like, right? What's the testing standards for something that it's being sold as medicine
Right.
by the state, right? The state's sanctioning medicine.
Yes.
So not compared to what I would regulate medicine for, but what the state would regulate medicine for, and what they're beholden to in public health and all those initiatives, and then what a recreational product would look like.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's opening the floodgates for both sides, you
Yes.
know, and what do you want to be as a farmer?
Exactly.
You want to be rec? Okay,
Yep.
cool. It's a little more, lenient,
Right,
but
right.
the economic side of going rec is a cheaper price per pack.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
people would want that craft medicine, and their test results is going to have to justify that.
Right,
you know?
right.
I think that's a good give and take for the farmer and the regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's got to
Space for
be
both.
something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's got to be something that works for everybody.
Yes.
You know.
First, we all just gotta get along, bro. Peace and love.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Not
man.
that
There's
fucking hard.
and especially a
It
place
seems hard,
like
dude.
Hawaii.
It's a fucking plant. There's so much meat on the bone with the fucking plant. I don't get why people are nipping at each other's ass.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
Hawaii, the land of aloha, bro. What the fuck
Yeah.
is going on?
I mean, it's a small island. I get it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
everyone's trying to
space,
like
though.
making, no, there's not really.
well, so if everybody got together, fought for real change, then space would open up. Because
I think people would know
No.
each other's vicinity. Like, hey, this guy likes to do it this way. I respect him because we're both fighting for the same
Sure.
side by side. So I have to respect him. I see a lot of people on IG where I have different philosophies of them.
Sure.
But they're homies. I want to see them do
Yeah.
good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I'll promote him, even though I'll support him, even though like some of our philosophies don't line up.
Sure.
But we're still after the same goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but
totally.
maybe there's space for everybody. Everybody. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there is with the plant. The plant offers space for everybody, but
No, I mean, like physical space.
oh, yeah, dude.
Like actual space.
physically.
yeah, like once they like relax on legislation or rules and regulations and shit.
Yeah.
Like farmers who want to expand maybe a little medium size, maybe they want to grow a little larger, but it also offers opportunity for people who have been thinking about it and maybe like want to
Sure.
get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think of this. All
And
this,
they could be the game changer eventually one day. Who knows, right?
right. Well, all this stagnant land up Helemano, that it's used for pineapple. Well, yeah, I get it.
Sure.
But to diversify, on the market value of whatever product you want to do. So, hey, sublease these fucking lands, these cannabis farmers that know what they're doing.
Right.
Let's create a regulation for these guys and let's get
Yeah,
our
yeah.
economy going
Totally.
and get the tourism in
Yeah.
the backseat.
Yeah.
But like hemp is also like a good thing to pull out the shit from the soil, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
another
yeah.
remediator for all the
Remediator, for sure.
bad
Is
shit.
it good like
Yeah.
one crop does really good, or you gotta like kind of go for a while and
How
then
fast is cannabis?
I know, but like how many cycles would you have to do to like really see a significant change in
Right, that's what I'm
soil?
saying. Cannabis is super fast, right?
Right.
So the lifespan of the cannabis plant is going to be pretty fast.
Right.
So the degradation of everything, building the soil back up, you have a lot of decay going on when you replant, and the whole philosophy.
A lot of good organic material.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sucking, and you're constantly like chopping and putting a new plant there. So
Right.
you're working the soil 24/7, 365.
So like, but after you first clear like maybe your first crop, right, and you pull all that shit out, is that soil better already?
Yes,
Like instantly,
Mhm.
so you
Yeah.
could go plant other shit there.
you could, but why would you? You're locked in on to
No, I
that.
know, but I'm just saying like, so one idea I was thinking is with all the fucked up soil up here in Kunia and all that shit,
Mhm.
just plant like hemp, not even like cannabis for medical or this, just the
Textile.
just the first round for textiles and shit. Just
Yeah.
plant a shit ton of it,
Mhm.
clean up all that soil, pull that out, use it for whatever, and then offer that space to farmers to parcel out. Like, oh, you want to grow
You'd
papaya
be a
here?
nice guy though,
Right.
man, because it takes money to plant all those
Yeah.
hectares and hectares.
The
of
government,
And
got,
manage it.
the government got money and people to manage shit.
You'd be surprised.
Bro, our
bro.
water is fucked
The-
up. The government don't give a fuck.
The
dude.
government's needs and wants of like what they want to do is this big, and then the amount of money they have to pick from is this big.
Yeah.
Right.
And
they're all
that keeps
fighting
shrinking.
over it,
And they're all
right.
fighting over it, right? And it's like they can't even do that for our native species.
Yeah.
We have so many invasives taking over. The agricultural budget of Hawaii is like, I think it's like less than
Nothing.
1%.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's like to preserve what we need to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not to like
Yeah.
improve or grow or get better, or it's just to like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's in like fucking, what's it called? Like famine mode. Like fucking, we just gotta
Yeah.
save it.
DLNR, bro. How much people you see patrolling with DLNR? Like I see maybe like one
Yeah.
every week
Yeah.
at the beach. You
I
know
don't
what
think
I
I've
mean?
ever run into a DLNR.
Dude, and that's the guys protecting our land and
Yeah.
natural resources.
Yeah.
Like when I was at the hunting class, they said like
Nah, 'cause
everybody
every-
has a sector. Who are you gonna catch?
Because everybody's following the rules. They don't got to worry about
Right.
going out there. They don't.
Totally.
Right, they don't need
Everything's
5 guys.
cherry.
What's
No
that
problem.
Poaching? What?
North, south, east, west. A good 4 guys and 1 guy to watch the middle, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, that problem exists across the board, and it's not going to be something the cannabis industry is not going to be affected by. We're already affected by it, right? I mean, just as the current industry exists now, 8 licensees, that side of the industry that's regulated by the state,
Right.
they're having a hard time. You know what I mean? Making sure all the inspectors are, you know what I mean, just regulating that small.
Yeah.
And that's, a fraction of what Hawaii can do in the cannabis industry, right?
Compared to a state like California that has however many.
Yeah.
I mean, innumerable.
Right.
Right at this point, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing too. When we start talking about what does a program look like that expands access for more people than medical patients, is like, okay, we can come up with the best plan possible, but can our government actually execute it? Are they able to resource it? Are they able to be serious enough to set up either be a department or a commission or something to regulate and to carry out the motives of that program? And what we're
Right.
seeing is that, even in the current program, the medical program, but a lot of new programs that the government takes on, is that they're just, the execution is hard to do when you have limited resources or you don't really care as much.
Right. People aren't passionate to fucking get it done.
And again, that's another, goes back to like, what can you do as a local grower? What can you do that someone that wants to be in this industry is poke your head up and get involved. You know what I mean? Like find somewhere where you can be useful in this effort to bring this movement to bear, to normalize this world, to be an agent of change, but also make sure you do it in a humble way and you're bringing everybody on board with you. 'Cause
Represent it well.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Don't forget, you live in Hawaii, bro.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like this. Like I see a lot of. I don't like to segregate or anything, but I see a lot of locals, a lot of Native Hawaiian people, that embracing the grow. Embracing the cannabis world and its economics too, but
Yep.
doing it humbly. And staying true to their roots. And still pursuing this, and it's making them,
Right.
like how you say, indispensable.
Yep.
People are seeking these other guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I hope that holds forever for Hawaii.
Yeah.
I hope that people know where they came from, don't change, and keep our values and project our values to the folks
Totally.
on the mainland.
Totally.
And having them be the change for them,
Yeah.
and seeing that positively improve the cannabis industry. And hopefully some big wig out there gets like a teardrop and be like, hey, I respect these guys. I'm not gonna fucking trample.
Right.
Let's just try and hopefully shoot for something like that.
Right, because when you think about Hawaii's place in the worldwide cannabis industry, it actually carries a lot of weight.
A lot.
For a tiny little
lot.
island chain in the middle of the ocean. Like, we got like street cred in the fucking
Huge.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking crazy how such a small area compared to every
Geographical location,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
right.
But the crazy thing is, the ones who are going to be making the decisions about how this moves forward in a legal framework have no concept of that.
Right.
Like, we can all talk about this all we want at any point, you know what I mean, and philosophize about how we want it to be and what it should be and all that. But we're not the ones that are going to be calling the shots. I mean, we can help influence, we can talk
Right.
to people and help educate, but we got to make sure that those individuals understand, really fundamentally understand, that this is more than creating taxes. It's more than, you know what I mean. It's about making sure Hawaii stays true to itself
Yes.
and stays true to our values, right?
Yes.
And making sure that someone can't rip off what Hawaii does best, you know what I mean, or
Right.
what's special about Hawaii,
Right.
And the really thing that gives me hope is that I think people that have lived here long enough know that even a simple thing like Kona coffee, right? We don't want someone in Ohio growing Kona coffee
Right.
and packaging it and like making choke money and
Yep.
dissing the farmers out in Kona, right?
Right.
And every lawmaker, every decision maker can understand that. So we have to let them know that like we have something really special here in the cannabis space.
Right.
We don't
Really
even-
special.
We don't even like it when people try to make Pokeballs on the mainland.
Right, exactly, Brad.
Like, don't even.
We will repost your shit, you know what I mean?
Was it Aloha Sushi or something
Right,
like that?
it was it? Don't ever try that shit.
Yeah.
You mainland guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives me hope. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there in showing that we are really unique in that way. And
Yeah.
bro, what we're seeing right now with internationally, like Germany about to open up with
Yeah.
cannabis market.
I've seen that,
bro.
man.
I mean, within the next 10 years, it's going to be not a America thing. It's going to be
A world.
a worldwide
What's
thing.
going on in Germany? What happened in
Full
Germany?
legalization, right?
Yeah.
Of
yeah.
what? Like
So this-
everything or just cannabis?
Cannabis.
Oh.
Yeah. So they had a new election out there, and then the new incoming administration got with everybody and said, "Yo, this is something we want to do. We want to legalize in Germany."
Right.
So when we
nice.
start opening up other markets, right? Can you imagine Hawaii's brand of cannabis being exported internationally?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it being sought after in that way. And I think that is again something that everyone can get on board with.
Right.
It's saying like
yeah.
there's only one Hawaii. There's only one,
Right.
place where you can have these many seasons and have the Hawaii soil and the Hawaii vibe and the
Yeah.
Hawaii values and the energy that gets put into that.
Right.
And that is something that is you don't need to market that. You know what I
Nope.
mean? It
Nope.
speaks, like you said, it speaks for
For
itself.
itself.
Our
And
prob-
oh, sorry.
Nah, go ahead.
Jinx. I like how like when people say Hawaiian sun grown because you can't replicate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's scientific.
Right.
You can't replicate it.
Right.
I mean, around the equator, you probably could, but there's a lot of environmental variables.
Totally.
Us being isolated,
Yeah.
zero, very minimal emissions as far as blocking our spectrum.
Right.
So it's unique in its own way, and we've seen that happen, man. And like, the sky's the fucking limit
Totally.
with these people being educated, coming up with the resources we have on island. Man, we're gonna kill it.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
If the situation is set up so, and I think this is another conversation I really want to have at a larger scale, is like when we talk about legalization, it's not legalization at all costs either. Like there's got to be a point where we're like, that's actually not what we want.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And some
Right.
people are saying just do it at any cost, at any terms necessary. In some ways, it could have a benefit for, again, not putting people in prison. But for example, if one of the recent federal legalization bills that was going through Congress, or ideas, was kind of to allow interstate commerce, right? To allow Colorado to sell to Hawaii, to sell to Alaska, to all these places. If that were to happen, and we are able to set up our own program and our own rules and regulations, we'd be screwed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right.
Like,
We'd be buying everybody's shit and nobody be buying our
Well,
shit.
the
Right.
market value would totally drown out Hawaii's
100%.
Right.
They could buy it at huge quantities, bring it in, just
Right.
like, you can't get any produce here, you know what I mean? That's
Right.
not brought in from somewhere else.
Right.
90% of all our food is shipped in. It's going to be another thing that's shipped in because it's cheaper, more accessible,
Right.
easier for someone to program into their system,
Yeah.
easier to
True.
start a business. And it would destroy our opportunity to have local craft growers do their thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
at some point, if that's moving in that direction, we got to advocate for ourselves and say, absolutely
Yeah.
not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Got to get in front of that shit before it happens.
Well,
Yeah.
why would you export when the means of cultivation can be done locally? You know what I mean? So it's like, why would we waste all this money on importing and exporting herb when we could do it here in the best possible way?
Yeah.
You understand? So I don't get it. Like Colorado, yeah, you got a fucking surplus. Good for you.
Sure.
You know, you fucked up your market with that.
Right.
Don't fuck up ours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
We're in a deficit. We're in a deficit because the laws are keeping us in a deficit. If it's a little more free for us to operate in the gray area, now, like, okay, we have the dispensaries are coming up short. Hey, Kalei, tap me on the shoulder. You got X amount. We'll buy this off of you if it's
Right.
compliant. Sure. There you go.
Yeah.
And I think that, and you can market it how Erik has his farm.
Yeah,
Eric's
yeah.
Voices of the Plant farm. Fuck yeah, I want his weed. Any
That's not
cost
real.
necessary.
That's not real.
Alleged. And fucking, I want his any cost. My dispensary wants to carry his because he's a popular
Yep,
fucking farmer.
exactly,
And that's how
exactly.
that's how it should be
Yeah.
here.
And it should be in a way that enables that farmer to do what he does best. You know what I mean? The one thing about the vertical integration is that it doesn't allow you to specialize.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to do A to C. So really, I mean, I haven't had a conversation with individuals in that realm that like that model. They're like, I would love to have someone who's super passionate and grows X well, and I could just put it on my shelf.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would love to have that opportunity.
It actually cuts down on their overhead
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
why wouldn't they? That actually would kind of solve a lot of the problems
would.
that they're dealing with right now.
Yep,
It's
yep,
like
yep.
I gotta fucking spend all this. I can't get any loans. I gotta pay fucking taxes on my ass.
Right.
why wouldn't I just all that money, recoup it, and go and invest in homie's farm? He's killing it already on the black market.
Totally.
Let's go invest in this guy.
Yeah. And one of the bigger things that I've discovered is that the original program that was set up for Hawaii doesn't, obviously is a vertical program, and it doesn't allow for that creativity of what the supply chain could look like. So it's a non-starter for individuals who have to implement this program.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they haven't given the legislative nod. No one said, okay, this is what we do now, which is understandable, right? Like, how government works is you get a set of rules you got to follow and you execute the rules. And if the rules don't say A and B, you got to do C and D. That's what the rules say, right? So it's an opportunity to bring it back to that whole piece. Is like we got to stick our heads out of the sand and offer alternatives and solutions. And have conversations. And we're going to have to shift our solutions when we hear other people's point of views at some point. You know what I mean?
Right. I think there's more than one way to skin a cat in this situation.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of when you were talking about how, like, say a dispensary, in this scenario where a dispensary is running low, they call the guru and we're like, hey, your shit tested good. Can we fucking do it? Marketing would come in, and these dispensaries, because they're in the business of making money still, I feel like, even though they're on a medical status.
Yeah, they have to be.
Right. So they'll do like a XYZ dispensary collab with the fucking guru. Because I've seen it happening already, but not necessarily in the...
Cookies does that shit all the time.
In the product of it, but like special gummies or special things that are mixed by expert chefs.
Totally.
But it's still there because it has to be their product, right?
Exactly.
It can't be like fucking the guru now.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not allowed, but
I think
there's space for that. Like hit bakers or hit fucking chefs and like, oh, we did a fucking collaboration with whoever the fuck, and now like we have these edibles.
I think we're going to start seeing more of that. I think now the market is, the analogy I like to use is that we were in the infancy stage, you know what I mean, for the past few years. Now we're kind of like getting into our adolescent stage, and they're starting to figure that out.
Exploring,
yeah,
testing our limits.
Exactly.
It seems so practical, yet it takes so long. We're like, dude, why didn't we do this shit a long time ago?
Well, there's probably a little trepidation and like...
It's because everyone was treading water, trying to just make sure the lights stayed on first. You know what I mean?
Right.
And still to this day, everyone is still making sure the lights stay on. But it's starting to feel a little bit more okay. This is a little bit more normal. This is routine. This is where we can flex a little bit. This is where we can move.
Gotcha.
And like you said, at the end of the day, these are businesses, right? So I mean, as it's currently standard, because they haven't made a single penny yet, really, on their initial investment, they haven't made any money back. This is a public good. You know what I mean? If you're a business and you're not making money, why do you stay in business, right?
Got you.
At this point, people are just trying to like fix this program. They've been awarded, by the grace of God, got eight, got your license, stuff like that. They're all like, okay, when is this gonna work?
Right.
As a business person, if you look at the model and how much you spend and how much you expense and you bring in and the market size, you'd be like, I'm gonna throw this into a house.
Right.
You know what I mean? And make 10% return every year. You know what I mean? Like this.
I can sympathize for them 100%. They stuck their necks out there, and now it's like, ooh, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You kind of have to have an altruistic like intention to get involved. If like you said, you're just fucking, you're not pissing away money, but you're not making money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that point, you're just providing a service to the fucking people.
You're pushing, Brad. Basically, you're not making anything. You're just trying to, like you said, keep the lights on, man.
Yeah. And a lot of individuals want to do all the things that people want them to do, and want to. But at the same time, again, it goes back to how many $20 grams you gotta sell to make back your initial investment. Not even, pay your rent, pay your light bill, pay all that, your initial investment, right? It's like open up a coffee shop, right? Like, of course, I'd want to get to a place where my cup of coffee is $1 a pop and everyone has access to the best quality coffee and it's all craft and it comes from, but the first few years, bro,
you're struggling.
Right. I'm making one batch and you get what you get. And if I'm sold out, I got to turn, I'm going to something else. You know what I mean? Like,
But you don't have to worry about the feds coming and knocking out your door.
Exactly. And you can write off on your taxes. You know what I mean? Like,
all the other
all
shit.
the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that the demographic of the dispensary, because the low percentage of people going there would be
Sure.
the people that aren't able to grow or find
100%.
somebody to get.
100%.
So I'd imagine the demographic would be kind of a higher, like in age bracket.
Yeah,
right?
You're spot on. The
Yeah.
majority of the individuals who visit dispensaries in Hawaii are on the older. They're not necessarily our generation. We get our generation that do show up, but it's the individuals that don't know where they could find alternatives,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And or other individuals who really, really want to go to a place, purchase a product, and know exactly, X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. Oh, I've got asthma. I've got, immunocompromised. I got to make sure 100% that this isn't spray tan. This isn't, you know what I mean?
The
Like-
black market gets kind of
Yeah.
shifty with
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. This isn't, growth hormones. This, you know what I mean? This isn't some mold content that cannot, stuff like that. People
Yes.
really got to know.
Yeah, and that's another topic I want to get into a little bit later is mold content
Yeah.
and the
Let's
threshold.
get into it
of
now.
everything.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, so like
Just say
a lot of
later.
farmers,
What you got planned, bro?
a lot of
Gonna dance for
farmers now. No, but a lot of the farmers now, like, their product comes up, would fail for total
Sure.
yeast and mold.
Sure,
right.
sure.
So the threshold, and I said this in previous podcasts, like the threshold of total yeast and mold should be more allotted, more forgiving,
Right. Flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's mold in the air we're breathing right now.
Fuck. I
Well,
mean,
Right.
what is
Hawaii
the,
has a lot
what
of
is
mold.
the threshold for like actual poisoning a human?
the species of mold, right? Like Aspergillus would pop up in the test.
Yeah.
Okay, what's
And
that?
We should definitely be testing for that.
Yeah,
what I mean?
you should
For
have
sure.
a target test. So
Yeah. Right.
like common pathogenic microbes you'd find on flour.
Right.
You test for those. Yep, you're positive for this. No good. Pass or fail.
So, but how much of that would it take to kill you?
Aspergillus, it's like black mold kind of deal.
So, like,
it's
instead
from-
of-
Over time,
Yeah.
it would,
But
but
yeah.
it still has bad effects. Just
Right.
like, and it like we have organizations that go out there and regulate restaurants, right? And if you
Yeah.
have too much mold, whatever, they'll shut you down, right?
But that's a
Well, if
good.
you're
So
But
that's
it's completely
immunocompromised-
different too, though.
If
I
you're
mean, right?
immunocompromised, it's a medicine you're trying to seek out, right?
Exactly.
So the fact that you're smoking black market weed that might have
Yeah.
Aspergillus and I'm
Yeah.
immunocompromised,
Right.
you're
Right.
kind of fucking me, and that's
Yeah.
where.
But that's a good thing, right? Though that they test that and say,
Oh yeah,
No.
it's good
Yeah,
to
yeah,
It's
test
good.
it.
It's good.
Yeah.
But they're also like, there's certain things that there's currently testing for
Yeah.
that may not be necessary
Yeah.
in the long run.
okay,
right?
It's basically a
loosen up
number-
on those kind of things.
Yeah, it's a number that you got to hit. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how much the population that you have.
Right.
parts
but-
per million,
And each state has
nanoparticles.
each program in each state has gone through these pains of like, where's that sweet spot and what am I testing for? You know what I mean? And again, this industry is so it's coming out of its adolescent stage that like
Yeah.
we're still learning every day, right?
Yeah. Right.
And again, I'm always going to bring it back to this. Pop your head up. Like we need people to get together and discuss what should be. We need organizations and experts who can help educate those who are regulating this industry and otherwise about like what is good mold to test for Hawaii.
Right.
Where are our micro
thresholds.
biologists in Hawaii that want to study this and
Right.
that like can inform people and actually give us a baseline, because that's what's going to shift people's minds and data and information, right?
But that's another thing too, is that because of its federal status,
Right.
the people who are the minds who are able to study this stuff, who are probably all funded by federal grant money,
Yeah.
they can't fuck around with that shit.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not allowed to.
yeah,
Right.
So
yeah.
even the small step of just rescheduling it so that scientists could do some tests,
Right. Mhm.
with the intention of hopefully one day proving that
Yeah.
it should be off of that whole fucking
Sure.
list,
Right.
completely.
Well, for the farmers having their product put out there, and they're like, dude, I had zero yeast and molds.
Yeah.
Not zero yeast and mold, but zero Aspergillus, zero of those
Sure.
pathogenic fucking microbes.
Yeah.
Why didn't I pass?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got all the inert shit that we breathe in every day. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, man. At what
Oh,
point
you mean
in
the
time?
stuff that's in my tap water I'm drinking right now?
Right. Exactly.
right. And
Coming from the freaking petroleum tanks.
yeah, heavy metals is a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? PGRs. Dude,
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
find
yeah,
a fucking
yeah.
paclobutazol inside there,
Yep.
you're done.
How does that shit get in there?
People put it in there
Oh,
to
yeah.
bulking up their weed.
Oh yeah.
And
So,
that's bad for you, those things.
cancerous.
It's very bad.
They
for
actually
you.
put a red cap on it so people can identify it from a distance what
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
that they're putting
yeah.
in.
Oh shit,
But
that's dark.
Let me
dude.
let
And
me
that's
go
pretty
darker.
popular, you know.
That's fucking.
It's pretty fucking
So
popular. you know?
exported weed coming here,
Yep.
Well,
So you
they
think
didn't pass the test, right?
Yep.
Oh, why
What
they didn't
exactly-
pass?
yeah.
Fucking
So you-
PGR.
Yep.
What do you mean they put red caps on the plants as they're growing?
No, on
On
the
the bottle.
bottle, so that if anybody
you
uses
know
it,
it's
you
hazardous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like restricted use pesticides kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But-
you got to get a permit to use, and then it has all these labels, make sure X, Y, and Z.
Rock dance nugs in the 2000s.
I'm sure there's a-
BCs,
I'm sure there's
we've
a-
been burning it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a foolproof way to like purge all that shit out of the
No.
plant before. No, it gotta be right.
It's a hormone, bro.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm fucking being facetious.
It fucks you up, bro.
Right.
Heavy
But yeah,
metals.
The testing
Yeah.
is a realm that needs to mature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we need testing, like for anything. Everyone should know what they're putting in their body. And then the other argument I've heard is all like, well, people have been putting non-tested cannabis in their bodies for generations. I'm like,
Right.
okay, but we haven't been able to study it.
Yeah.
We don't know what the long-term effects are.
And we're at that generation
Yeah,
where, you know what I mean?
exactly.
I didn't die of weed. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
let's see.
Yeah, you don't know causation, correlation, whatever. You know what I mean? You
Well,
don't
our
really know.
generation's fucking unique because we were that generation where people wanted to make money off of it, right?
Right.
It's not the uncles growing in the backyards
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
hippies growing in the hills. It's,
Yeah.
oh, dude, now we're getting imported weed that
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
fucking rock solid. And
Right.
So we're the actual guinea pigs of our generation that actually
Yeah.
smoke the economic weed.
Yeah.
So we got to, keep our eyes open and
Yeah.
kind of collect data as we go along in life
Yeah,
to see
yeah,
if that
yeah.
really fucked us up. I had a friend over here just a little while ago talking about like, there's no proof. I'm like, dude, there actually is proof.
Right.
And if there wasn't proof, why the fuck are we fucking red capping it
Yeah,
and sending it
exactly.
away, making it illegal?
yeah,
So
Yeah,
we
we know a
gotta watch
lot
out.
of stuff about a lot of things.
yeah, and we allow a lot of things that we
Yeah,
know a lot
yeah,
of stuff about. Our produce has PGRs in it. You don't see strawberries gigantic like that.
Right.
So there's a allowable limit that the
Allowable
FDA
limits, for sure.
will allow for food, but not for cannabis.
Yes.
Different standards for everything. This
Is
is
it
one of
because
the most
you're
heavily
inhaling it
regulated
and it's like
industries
going in that
the
way?
world.
Is it like
I don't think it makes a
or-
difference.
No?
I don't think it makes a difference. I think
It's
that
getting in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people fucking definitely juice up that plant and
Mhm.
make it unrealistic.
Yeah,
For
sure. And that's
So.
the dangers of having it in the shadows, right?
Yes.
That's the danger of having any kind of medicine in
Right.
the shadows,
Right.
right? Or any kind of thing that people want to utilize or ingest or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, just
And
become
that's
a
why-
billion-dollar pharma industry in your cannabis stuff, and then you can hide everything in the
Exactly,
comfort, bro.
right.
Just
Right.
get away with it, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like people are the trap game. I get it. People are trying to make money off of it.
Sure.
But if the law accommodated those guys and brought them over, in a sense where they have that freedom to operate as
Yep.
if they were, but under a guided hand of, hey, is this safe to the fucking public?
Right,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean?
Yep.
Yep.
Like it didn't pass our test, you can have it back and like
Yeah.
do whatever.
Or like, hey, you know what? Your
What if they
license
just
is
Can't put it on the
temporary.
shelves. you
Yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
can't we better not find you selling this to
Yeah,
anybody.
exactly.
No, yeah, and you find the guys and you make it harder for them. Hey, you know what? You're going to lose your license again if this shit keeps on happening especially if you're knowingly putting it in. You can't just obtain PGR. You're
Doesn't-
knowingly putting it in,
You mean it doesn't like crawl in from outside and like get in your
Yeah,
pot?
there's an
and-
elf that comes at night.
No.
It goes
Right.
in your res.
You can
It's
deny it at all
PGR
costs.
elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to actively take the cap off, put it in
Yeah.
a container. You know what you're doing at that point.
There
You
you
know
go.
exactly.
Press
what
the
you're
on button and
Yeah.
have it go to your plants.
Like
Yeah.
you know what it does. You
Yeah.
you know it's not good, but you did it anyway.
Right.
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 Ooh, that's dirty. That's dark, bro.
Yeah.
You're an asshole.
That's where marketing has fucked it up, right? Because they're only seduced by making money. They're not at all giving a fuck about the medical benefits because actually it's detrimental medically to people, but they're just fucking kicking it down to people like they're fucking like, I don't know, Snoop Dogg or
You're
fucking
setting
Burner.
me up again, brother.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know what? I want to fucking get this out. Like, fucking 4 criteria to cannabis, and people have it really misconstrued. They put bag appeal as number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Bag appeal
What's it
doesn't
look
give.
like?
Who gives a
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that has any tangent value
Yep.
to any of this. It's it's not relative. It should be like effects, taste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Inputs.
inputs.
What did you use to
Mhm.
produce this plant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you see those beautiful buds, it's like,
Mhm.
well, how does it smoke?
Yeah.
How's the ash look? You know
Right.
what I mean? How'd you
Yeah.
cure it? All of
Yeah.
that stuff come into play. So when people
Mhm.
buy weed and they're like, oh, dude, this thing's purple. It looks super good.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You got to educate them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Education, again, I think we discussed this earlier, is like one of the biggest pieces that needs to happen at a large scale in this space.
Yes.
Across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing right now is the market being so driven by the funds, right? And consumers just wanting X, wanting to kind of be a part of it, that education is gone. And in our market, in Hawaii, at least in the current medical program, education was banned. Like, dispensaries aren't allowed to do marketing, right? They're banned from doing marketing. And for a long time, they were banned from doing education, too. Just recently, in a recent bill, I think it was a year or two ago, got education to be able to do educational information and stuff like that.
Right.
And even that, it's all like, who has the budget for that right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The education kind of stops at like, yeah, weed laws were fucked up and it needs to change, but nobody's really like delving deeper into like the science and all the real intricate fucking nuances of like the plant and the effects. But yeah, it's like everybody agrees that it's fucked up. It's illegal. Like, what the fuck's up with that shit? Like, that's bullshit already. Like, the education has worked in that sense, but like, it shouldn't stop there, right?
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Right.
Of course. But, the stigma being broken allows for the education to be more readily available.
Totally.
Because right now it's like, I don't really want to learn about it. Or like, that's still taboo. You know, like, let's open that up. Even like laws, like, fuck, I don't want to go to a class and my employer's going to know. That shit, people are worried about that shit currently. So once that fear goes away, now it's starting to, a lot of retirees come through the shop and they
That's
grow.
awesome.
Which is
I love to
it's
see that.
super awesome.
I
And
love to
like,
see that.
I'll fucking talk to them for days.
Yeah.
Like, I love talking to them because they got some cool stories and
Totally.
like the old school methods. And what I do is when I see them come in, it's like, okay, the old school methods, and how does that relate and translate to the new school methods, and how do I translate it back to that person without having them question their own old school ways? You know what I mean?
The resistance to be like, you young fuckers with your
You
new
don't know.
technology.
You don't know. Yeah.
I've been doing this for decades.
So you just tell them like, hey, what you're doing is good, but hey, we do them like this, and then that's the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So making it fucking for them to like, oh, cool. And a lot of people now that's retirees, they're coming in, they're having fun doing it, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So sick.
Well, yeah, they're having fun. They're getting weed to smoke.
Well, because the stigma doesn't apply to them. They're
Right.
retired.
Yeah.
They're fucking. They can do what they want. You know.
I like that about our generation.
There's
Is that we're really, really happy to destigmatize, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, my roots, punk rock roots, I was always anti-authoritarian, stuff like that. I like pushing the envelope. So at every cost I can, I'll pull out and roll it somewhere. You know what I mean? I'll make sure that people, and I'll show them too that like I'm a functional, reasonably, well put together individual, right? For the most part. And I'm happy to say like, bi-daily, if not daily, smoker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Totally.
can get things done.
Of course.
Not the fucking stereotype slacker fucking
Half baked,
Yeah.
fucking guy on the couch. You know.
No.
Right.
Those exist.
They do.
It's
And
fun to
that's
play those every
personalities.
once in a while. It's
Yeah.
fun to have a day like that.
Well, as a grown up, we call it veg days, right?
yeah.
That's just an excuse to be
You're
a stoner.
feeling a little under the weather. You're gonna, miss some shit anyway. It's like might as well just fucking.
Right.
What's the generations coming up now is calling it self-care.
Yeah,
Self-care.
They're redefining it.
Mental health day.
Mental health day.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so true, bro.
It is.
So
you need to
true.
do that.
You do.
Bro, and that's a generational change. Dude,
Yeah.
my dad would never take a fucking
Right.
self-care day.
Exactly.
What is
Yeah,
that, you sissy?
You should be working.
Yeah.
You're not working? What are you
Let me
doing?
see your nails. They're
Everybody got to
clean.
work. Everybody got to work.
Yeah.
Like that whole, and that's been brought so much people, so much stress and anxiety and pain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And productivity, right? That we got to be some type of, we got to be producing at all times, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like even when you're resting, you're actually producing. You're producing good endorphins. You're producing,
Right.
your muscles to recover. You're producing what we should be doing is halftime on, halftime off, or whatever what
Yes.
works for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, our parents, even the family dynamic changed with that.
Yeah.
Like now you got two people in the household working full-time jobs, which is good in a sense. Back then it was the dad provides for everybody.
Yeah.
The woman stays home and takes care of the house.
Right.
And that brought a lot of stress because it's an oppression on women. You keep them from wanting to
Well,
live
there's
to their
a-
potential.
There's a different reason why the government wanted women to get into the workforce.
Well, I'm just talking about the women in general who want to work and they can't because there's one breadwinner, and that dynamic has changed now. Like they're free to
Right. There was
kinda,
a stigma
But
on
back
women in
in
the
the
workplace.
but back in the day, one like job household, woman staying home, being a housewife was a sustainable way of living.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Now that's impossible, but they've created it that way.
Yeah.
So that way both parents have to work.
And they make
Right.
more money for.
So they can
yeah.
tax two people.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
they weren't
yeah.
getting half the taxes in the goddamn country. And it's like, goddamn,
Right.
we need more money. So,
Right.
like, let's convince these women that it's their fucking feminine right to fucking get out there and join the workforce, not knowing that they're just getting in line with another system. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bruh.
And now that led to, let's leave the care and responsibility of taking care of your kids into some fucking stranger who's just going to fuck them over and get them on the reefer madness trend.
Yeah.
So that way, all these kids, like our parents' that grew up in this kind of like
Well,
time where
Social
this is
media is
being
babysitting your
stigmatized.
kid now. That fucking
Yeah.
screen is babysitting your
Yeah.
kid.
I seen some lady the
right.
other day
You're
that
right.
had her
You're right.
infant in like one of those carriers, and she had her phone in her bra.
The fuck.
So this
Watch
infant
'em.
baby so it would be entertained. Just
Yeah.
walking down the street, I was all like,
Get
no.
the fuck out of here.
yeah, I talk all that shit, but you're right. That's true.
Sorry.
You know, yeah, you're right. YouTube, fucking yeah.
I see kids like eating
traded
and
one
it's
thing for
there
another.
while they're eating
Yeah.
at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, no,
fuck, dude.
not a-
Sad.
No devices at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're getting in the mea eye, that's sacred time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should be in relation to that food.
And appreciative.
Yeah,
of-
and grateful.
yeah, man.
I've tried to bring that into my life a lot. Like, I'm not a religious individual. I don't have an established religion, but I would consider myself a spiritual individual.
Definitely.
And it hasn't been until the later parts of my life that I've factored in like ritual and ceremony and
Right.
being grateful. Like, if there's food in front of me now and I don't know where that came from, I make sure, or even if I do know where it came from, I'm grateful for the individuals that toiled over the soil to make it happen and bring
Yep.
that food to my plate. You know what I mean? We live in such a instant gratifying, go to the supermarket, get one, whatever, that we don't think about the individuals that took the time to make that. You know?
Right.
I see that they're talking about intentional eating. I just saw that on TV or
What's
somewhere on
that?
the internet. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
as
Oh,
you're
it's- oh, is
eating,
that
like
what it is?
you're being mindful of who prepared it and
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
came
That's
from.
cool.
and
Yeah.
being grateful for
Give
it.
thanks. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
basically what
Because
you know.
most time we just
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
fucking-
yeah.
Well, like
for sure.
Uncle Kalei and Uncle Daniel.
Yeah.
They fucking shout outs. They make
Big
sure you
time.
know where your fucking eye is
Who's
coming
those
from.
guys? That's fucking
Mana Eye
and
and Uncle
Aina.
Kalei.
Yeah.
Aina Mamona.
So like they know that hey, this is what it takes to go into your food. So when you get your food, fucking appreciate your
Yeah.
food. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's a relationship with the soil that fucking festered your food.
Right.
You know, like we fucking grew your food. We gotta fucking appreciate everything about it. You know,
Absolutely.
and that's lost nowadays.
Yeah.
especially
Maybe
with-
people don't want to do that because if they really were mindful about where their food came from, they wouldn't be too happy about it.
Why is that?
Factory farming and
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean,
No, but-
like if you're when you're eating like
We're talking about your local farmer.
yeah, like that
yeah.
kind. But a lot, my thinking is a lot of people don't do that because of the reason that just
Out of
factory
sight, out of
farming- yeah,
mind.
Yeah, like you don't
Yeah.
want to think about like
Yeah.
this Tyson chicken wings I'm eating
Right.
for the fucking game night came from wherever.
Right,
like
right.
you're like, ooh, let's just enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no one's
These are
like
delicious.
no
Let's just
one's
enjoy the
like
game.
that because how we were brought up, right? No, I mean, no one's like every day appreciate,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know, at least once in a while,
Exactly.
if you got kids, remind them, hey, you know that this came from my daughter. I'm like, we watch hunting shows all the time,
Yeah.
and she's like, at first, like, I don't see that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you eat meat, don't you? Right?
Right.
It's delicious.
Mm.
This is what happens.
important
It's
to
just
know.
real, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So us at the farm, she deals with mortality.
Yeah,
She deals with birth.
absolutely.
The goats give birth.
Totally.
Goats die.
Right.
She sees it. It's
Yeah.
food source. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
it's more of a like, and she doesn't waste food. And
Yeah.
that I'm proud of.
That's
The
awesome.
fact that, you know, I give her whatever. I won't fucking pile it, but she'll make sure she eats it all.
Right.
At least, you know, what she can.
I'm gonna say this next statement, knowing full well that I eat like shit most, like 95% of the time. But I think that practicing that mindful eating kind of thing could really affect the way you eat. Because the more you think about where your shit came from, the more you may want to avoid those types of foods,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
tend to be mostly unhealthy for you in the long run.
Right.
So like you might want to go pick
Exactly.
a healthier option.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the
do
mech
that kind of
rib
shit.
when they showed how they make the
Oh.
fucking mech rib.
Oh.
But what? Those fuckers are good, right?
I hate that
But
shit, dude.
they're-
I mean,
Oh,
they're crafted to be good. Of course,
They're
they're
delicious,
good.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They
yeah.
fuck
I mean,
with
I
your
don't eat.
brain.
Yeah. They stimulate you in a way that you've never been stimulated before.
It looks like a dead cat. Like it looks like a fucking roadkill.
There's
I'm about to
probably
go eat.
And it's
you know.
sugar, right? In the barbecue sauce and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
tricks your brain into
oh
wanting
yeah,
more sugar.
gives you a sugar spike, an endorphin spike, all
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, they got their hooks in me, those sugars.
Yeah, they
I
do.
don't know, man. I fucking a home cooked meal is what's up.
Oh no, for sure.
Definitely, man.
One thing that always comes to mind around like Thanksgiving time is this one meme that shows up, and it brings me back to this. Is there's like this white family centered around the table, and they're all holding hands, saying "Thank you, Jesus," right? And then the next slide is
The
a
Mexican
dude,
picking the
Jesus, picking. He said "de nada." You know what I mean? Like you really don't know, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad you brought that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
fucking blinders on to like the fucking reality of where your shit comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why every house should have a little garden, and every
Ayo.
garden at every house
Ayo.
should have some sort of tax rebate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people take it way extreme though, where it's like they want to stuff these graphic documentaries down your throat and be like, you need to watch this.
Mm.
Nah,
You
yeah,
gotta
fuck them.
participate. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I really am thinking about that mindful fucking eating thing and like how that could lead to positive changes in
Big
diet
time.
choices.
Big
My wife's
time.
getting on me about the way I eat. That's why
Oh yeah.
I'm not young anymore, so I need to really start being more
You're
conscious
Kalei,
about
bro.
it.
When you wake up in the morning and you have a roof over your head, it's fucking warm. You know what I mean? You're dry.
Oh, I like it
Like-
cold with the AC.
I mean, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, all of that's got to come into your head that, like, hey, fucking, I'm grateful for this, too.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, what has went into this? You know, even though it's like, we look at it like, oh, that's development and all that shit. But as a personal level, we're fucking grateful that we have everything we have now.
Oh yeah, it's hard to like
It's a tough subject,
stick to
man.
like really ancient ways while living in a modern
Society.
world. You know what I mean? Because like, it's just you gotta realize that we are where we are, and
Sure.
it's good to preserve and honor the old ways and practices as best you can. But you're driving a fucking Tesla on a modern road. You know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
not. It's not. We're not
Yeah,
in the same
yeah,
place.
yeah.
The fish you're eating right now isn't the same fish your ancestors ate.
100%.
That's
Nah.
great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
100% good to preserve the old ways, but
Sure.
just realize that the mercury levels in that fish ain't the same. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, all the shit isn't the same. But that's not to say like give up on those things and just
Exactly.
let them fall to the wayside.
Well, I
it
think-
goes for like growing practices,
Yeah.
natural farming, fishing.
I think it's more so the
hunting.
mentality it shouldn't die. Like what's good for us shouldn't die. You
Right.
know, like that guiding light. We know that sustainability is fucking good. We need to keep that mentality going.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sustainability we all can embrace.
Yeah.
Why
Take what works, leave the rest.
Right.
I don't know anybody who doesn't want a sustainable thing. Like, nah, I'd rather just burn out
Yeah.
super fast and be done.
There's a lot
There's
of
gotta
companies
be,
out there.
There's
Fuck
gotta
up
be a
is-
lot of people like that.
No, man, come on, man.
There's
in this
a lot
world,
of company
There-
like
I think there's a lot of
man.
people that just think like I'm only on this planet for a certain amount of time. I just need to get mines.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? My bubble is this way. I can't begin to fathom how I impact the collective.
Right.
I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm just one man. I ain't gonna fucking do anything.
you know, and some people, you know, I can say that that's not the right way to live, but you
Right.
know, I just live my life different for
Right.
sure.
Who is anyone to say what's right or wrong? Maybe
Yeah.
that those people are needed for some other cosmic reason.
Right.
Karma.
I'm sure they are.
It's all karma.
That's why we gotta fucking step up as a farmer and do double the work. You know,
Yeah.
open the shit up. Let us
Yeah,
do our
yeah.
thing.
Maybe that's why they're there, to be the catalyst to
Oh, right.
see everybody be like, fuck, enough is enough. Like, we
Right.
need to fucking affect some positive change together.
Incentive is probably the best way to get people to go in a direction of sustainability. You know what I mean?
Right. But where would that incentive come from? Because the state wouldn't do it, I don't think.
Government, state.
The
government.
federal government definitely won't do it, and I think the state government would be like hesitant to do it because they're fucking with, like, you're stepping in the realm of like actually helping supplement and promote a federally illegal substance, right? Or I mean, are they doing that now by allowing dispensaries
They
and
are.
shit? Yeah, so they're already
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that realm.
It's getting them to have the political will to just step out and do it, right? They
mhm.
need the cover. They need, if they're going to be making those decisions, right? Like no state would have ever legalized if someone else didn't take the first go at it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like Hawaii waited. You know, how long they wait since we had legalization, or excuse me, not legalization. We had
Decriminalization.
no, just a
Medical.
in 2000.
Right.
2000, bro. We're the first state to ever pass it through a legislature.
No shit, huh?
Really?
First state, 2000,
know
bro.
that.
It's 21 years ago.
Right.
You had a medical legalization
Yeah.
program here, and it took them until like waiting for all the other states to do X and Y Z. They're like, not yet. Wait, nope, we're not ready. You know what I mean? And until 2016, right?
We
So
do
when
that a lot.
We
though.
do that a
Yeah.
lot. We do that a lot.
So up until dispensaries were like actually opening in Hawaii, like
Yeah.
how are medical patients getting their medicine? Like through growers growing themselves? That was the only options.
It's
you-
funny. There was a period of time, like after the law passed, where there was no guidelines on like what to do. They're like, you can do it, but we don't endorse how to get it, where you're going to grow it,
Right.
where it is. You know what I mean?
Have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
huh?
there was this period of like, oh well, what, you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
even now, it's kind of all like, okay, you legalize it, like, but you don't want me to be, doing X, Y, and Z. Where do I get my C's? Where do I get, what I mean?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
There's still like this weird space where like they're like, okay,
We'll figure it out.
yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you're setting me up right now, guys.
Yeah,
Like- No. It's a medically legal. Wink, wink. Go
Yeah.
get him. Go get him, Tiger.
Go for it.
Oh, jeez.
I'm waiting for you, bro.
And it took them 16 years before the first dispensary opened. God damn.
Better late than
Wild.
never.
Was that just because they were figuring out how to like
No.
figure out a system to work it, or just like the barriers were so fucking extreme that I was like,
Yeah.
good luck.
No, it was more so that it was not a priority for a lot of them. They're like, we've got this program going, blah blah blah. We don't need it. And then all the other states were doing it. You know what I mean? And time was kind of running out for them to say that it was not a priority anymore. And they were kind of feeling the heat. Right? There was a lot of advocacy groups at the time. Drug Policy Forum of Hawaii shout them out. Pam Lichty and all of those individuals that do policy work. Been in the trenches for
Shout out.
20 years, man, doing that work, trying to destigmatize and understand policy and stuff. And they finally were all like, look, you can't sit on your hands anymore. You know what I mean? You can't just ignore it. You got to set up a legal channel.
Right.
Yeah.
And they came up with, the program that we have now, which is, we all know is lackluster and not sustainable and doesn't really work for everybody. But how do you change that? You engage it. You know what I mean? You get involved and you put your words out there. You know what I mean? Step up.
Yeah. Just hope people listen. God damn it.
Right. And how do people listen? When you come with aloha, you come with humble. You know what I mean? You prepare your thoughts. You don't pull people down with you. You take them with you.
Mm-hmm. That's what we need more of. It's scary because a lot of people come with fucking armor on and just like ready to fucking be combative. And
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so defensive, man, when they get on.
Yeah, that's really fucked up that people can't just get along in this. Like, Hawaii is so small,
Yeah.
and if everybody kind of just realized too at the same time the amount of weight that Hawaii carries in the cannabis industry,
Yeah.
it's like one of the pillars, dude.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And like, you're gonna fuck it up over some ego shit and just like,
Right. And it's a selfish mentality,
Yeah.
right? Like it comes from ego. It comes from like wanting to be seen as some kind of expert or something like that.
Right.
Because really, when and if this industry opens up the proper way, I mean, the amount of benefits it's going to reach out into our communities. I mean, and this is people that don't even touch the plant. We're talking graphics designers, accountants, people that want to study it at UH. We're talking delivery driver. You know what I mean? You name. There's going to be so much economic activity generated where you don't even have to touch the plant at all.
I always
You know what I mean?
I always tell the story of this one lady, fucking straight laced, never touched anything. You know what I mean? That I know of. She's older, but worked for a solar company, and they were getting into like lighting and shit. And like asked me like, hey, do you know what we can get us into like the cannabis expo? Because we want to set up a booth and like have our like solar batteries for like lighting. It's like all these like ancillary, I think is the
Yep,
word,
ancillary.
industries
Totally.
that fucking benefit that you wouldn't even think of.
Yep.
Printers,
Yep.
every fucking thing.
That's where even right now, that's where I'm telling, like, I get people like, oh, how can I get in this industry? I was like, find something. Like, I don't want you to be a grower right now.
Right.
There ain't nothing for you right now.
Yep.
You
Let's just
find
stay
something
locked
that you
down.
like to do. Find something you like to do. And again, going back to that whole thing, is like, you can write your taxes off. You can run it like a regular, legit business.
Yes.
Don't have to worry about no one coming knocking on your door.
Right.
And just find an area that like supports what's going on right now. You know what I mean? And it's going to take some time. Like, too many people telling me, oh, I can't wait to the whole dispensary system fails. Like, well, there goes your opportunity to ever get involved in an actually
Right.
industry where you don't have to look behind your back. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And that's that chaotic mentality. It's like, I can't wait for them to fail.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wait a
Right.
minute.
If they fail, I mean,
We all fail.
We're all going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
they succeed, to a certain extent, we all going to succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
they're going to, using the word like trailblazer, it maybe not this exact same, but they're paving a path that no one has ever paved by, luck of the draw, by getting a really good, package together, getting good investors, and having privilege and opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. And I think most of them recognize that.
Right.
Like they're selected 8, which is really intense. But that comes with a huge kuleana. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah,
and
man.
I don't think anyone really takes that lightly.
And it seems like everybody's doing it the right way.
I mean, who's to say what's the right way right now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a pono way, I guess, in a perceivably righteous and
They're passing tests.
integrity way.
You know what I mean? They're passing tests. They're, from what I see,
Do they have integrity though?
they got integrity.
All right.
They hire local. You know what I
right.
mean? They got. I'm speaking from Noah because we deal
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
buy
yeah.
stuff from
That's
us.
awesome.
So, yeah, they do shit by the book.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, I have nothing bad to say about them. I just respect the fact that they're hiring people. They're restructuring what they're doing. They're putting out decent product from what I hear. They're available. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So all of that factors, it's positive in the whole community aspect of it. So
yeah.
to be a hater towards them, it's
Right.
going to be a hater towards me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is it where
And
everybody
if you're
wants
a hater
it to be?
towards the guru, you're a hater towards me.
all
Oh.
set, rolling deep.
That's
Slow
the
down
worst
on that.
place you want to
Yeah.
be.
But yeah, is
Burn the whole
is
city
all of those
down.
industries, all of the dispensaries where everybody thinks they should be? No, of course
right,
not.
yeah.
But everyone's got an opinion, and again, take anybody and put them in the position that other dispensaries are right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe half of those people who are critics would never have gotten halfway as far. You know what I mean?
guaranteed.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Those are
just
the
have them
loudest-
trim.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
bet
the
you
loudest
to break
ones.
them motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah.
I asked to do that one time. I was like, hey, we should do a podcast where we trim and talk. And I was like, fuck that shit. That was
Fucking sucks,
I
dude.
clipped like one butt. I was like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the fucking trimmers out there.
Hey,
Yeah.
we
Right.
appreciate you.
Your
guys.
early onset arthritis.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, not all heroes wear capes. Some wear
Bro.
latex gloves.
Yeah.
I would, if I was a chiropractor, I would go to all the trimmers.
Oh,
and be
Massage
like,
them.
Yeah.
Let me go give you a neck adjustment. Haircut
Right.
once a week.
Yeah.
You look down a lot. Let me help you out.
Go
Crush
fucking
it.
give them loamy water. Fucking over there, hunched over a fucking
Yeah.
bin.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
Dude, set up a table in a trim room. Be like, anybody on break?
mandatory.
Hell
I don't
yeah.
know however long, but some breaks,
Oh.
bro. You gotta take a break, bro. You
Yeah.
gotta-
Dude, there's some grower out
Be a
there be like,
turtle
shut
when you
the
grow up."
fuck up, Kalei. You fucking dick. We're not doing that.
How about
Sorry,
all those times
guy.
I came over your house and you never rubbed my back, you fucker?
There's one trimmers union coming out.
I know, right? Oh, shit.
See, and the government should love, or I guess does the government like unions?
I don't know.
But
That's well
That's
over my
another
head.
thing. Another thing that could happen: a union formed to protect the rights of
Yeah.
different industries, delivery drivers
Yeah.
union, trimmers union.
Trimmers?
That conversations has happened a lot in the
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah.
and some people have tried.
How far did it get and like why did it stop?
I think it's really around it's still federally legal, stuff like that. Like a lot of people didn't want to take the risk, but there were some serious conversations. I forget which union it was.
Local 5 probably they want to get their hands in
There you go.
everything.
But yeah, there's been nationally and locally unions
Yeah.
that have just like at least discussed, right? I mean, anywhere there's work being produced, people
Right.
want protections.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna come up. I'm surprised it hasn't in California yet. Some sort of like I guess because I don't know.
Bro,
What are their,
it's-
like,
the rec
regulations
game
over
over there is fucking unreal, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's insane. It's really
It's
wild.
like a candy market,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And the colors they pop, and it's like
It was like a gold rush, bro. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's exactly
It
what
really
it was.
was.
Yeah, it was wild, wild west.
Yeah.
It fucking you're able to operate. What? Boom!
Yeah.
Everyone's there before you know it. There's a fucking store in every fucking
Is
corner.
it settling down at all, or is it still like
It's still pretty volatile,
Yeah.
and the crazy thing is, a lot of people didn't make it. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
the harsh thing. It's all like a lot of people tried, and a lot of people didn't make it. The ones who were there, had a little bit more advantage, or were able to wait it out, and did some conglomerations and buying out and stuff like that.
Right,
so
right.
it's a tough situation. You know what I mean? It's
Or-
definitely not. I don't want to see what happened in California happen anywhere close to what
Oh,
happened here.
It's
man.
gonna
I
look
mean,
gross.
Yeah.
Bastardization of our
Right.
fucking state.
right. Oh, the
fucking-
taxes are out of control over there on cannabis
That's
right
what
now.
I'm saying too.
Bro,
On the
it's
rec-
nuts.
Well, I guess on both sides, right? Is medical even existent
Some
in California?
some states, yeah, they have a medical program.
Do people
but
utilize it? I'm
I think
curious what
some
the numbers
people.
are there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's way lower. They're good.
they're good.
They got to work.
video feed just
But yeah.
cuts out.
Yeah, shout out to fucking Bud Naked and Turtle Doves
Shout out
over there.
Holding it
working
down.
hard.
Hell yeah. But fucking, yeah, like, it's just going to be gross, like, just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we got to make sure that like counties can't add on a tax and the state can add on a tax. You know what I mean? That like it's,
Compound tax us. Yeah.
no
dude.
way. It's got to be one tax across the board. Everyone knows it's transparent. You know, everyone can plan for it in their budget. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it can be attached to some really good programs. You know what I mean? It goes to support some things. Hopefully, there's some reciprocity programs in there. You know, help out our homelessness, help out Kanaka. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
support DHHL. Let's build some more homes. You know what I mean? Let's do some work. You know what I
Right.
mean? Let's do some things with some of this money that's coming in.
With all that, too, creates jobs, right? And, like,
Oh. So much economic
Like,
activity.
you know, just, like, field jobs, like, farmer jobs, like, you know, people to, like,
Trimmers.
yeah, trimmers. You need a lot of fucking trimmers.
That's as field work as I can get
Yeah.
it, dude.
But you know what I mean? Like, if you start
Those
to
poor guys.
get a little more large scale, you're going to need staff to help.
Big
and
time.
So, like, there's job opportunities and...
And you got to pay that staff good wage, and you got to pay them health care,
Word,
medical,
word,
and
word.
really, in the end of the day, that's why like some individuals who are in the legal space right now are kind of, you know, a little bit pissed that other people are doing on a commercial scale bigger than what they are and not paying their employees. And
That's
using
not cool.
and you know they're not employees, they're volunteers. You know what I mean? Or they're not.
Apprentice.
Yeah.
They get gifted stuff.
Right. And they don't get medical care. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And like,
I like to call them squires.
Huh?
You are my squire.
Oh, yeah, like Padawan.
Trim squire, trim.
Jeez, you like they got to sing while they do it?
Yes.
You know, like fucking
A
The
jester in
Witcher.
the back just dancing.
yeah. And they sell them like, oh, you get the opportunity to learn from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come over.
We're a
4 times a week for 9 hours a day.
We're a
Yes.
non-profit.
Clean this
Yeah.
resi. It's like, much more than that. No. This is the first step of learning to become a grower.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm a foreman, carpenter. No, you scrub the resis. Dude, I think that big farms and the collectives, they do help out. You know,
100%.
I get it. I think if they don't operate under the same scrutiny as the other big entities, you know, at what point are you a big entity? You know,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay as unbiased with this as possible.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be like Pono about this, right?
Because that might vary in the market you're in.
Exactly.
'Cause-
So we should definitely regulate a number of
You have
cards
to.
that could be a collective.
Sure.
That would be called
Yeah.
a collective.
There has to be reasonability.
Yeah.
This
in-
is
in
me being a
everything.
human being,
Everything's
you
in
know what I mean?
moderation.
Yes.
Everything's and the thing is, no one's having the conversation, and that's the problem. We should all
Right.
be just having that. Like, let's be real honest. Let's sit
Yeah.
down and let's talk about
Right,
it, right?
right.
And let's come to an understanding together.
Because people are gonna fight about like what it should be and where that
Right.
line is, but at least they're talking. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? They're-
exactly.
I mean, it could be as safe, as simple as like, all right, that's your batch number. You know,
Yeah.
let's do the same
Yep.
laws.
Yep.
You know, you're there, you're established.
Yeah.
You're helping out a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're a fucking golden person.
Yep.
Let's just make sure that it's fair
Yeah.
and that's just being
Right.
fair. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
So, horizontal integration would be also another thing that we should.
It's
embrace.
coming. It's coming. And I think
Yeah.
for a lot of individuals that think, you know, it's going to be a holdout for as long as we can a vertical, so wrong. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's really ever been the case. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Again, just like when you think about the program as it is and what makes dollars, what makes sense, what makes actual, you know, real world reality sense, it doesn't as it currently stands. And everyone knows it. And
Right.
no one wants to continue to operate as it is.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So to say like, oh, they just want to, you know, hold out or they, you know, want to have one monopoly or something like that. It's like, no, absolutely
it's coming.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it too. Like in Hawaii, it's at their doorstep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck. What I was gonna say, I had a fucking question too.
Everyone knows you're high, bro.
Yeah, for real, dude.
That happens.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Okay.
So, from the growers,
Yeah.
you know the consumer growers, the people home growers, right? They're worried about getting their right revoked in the future. Do you see that happening
No.
at
Not
all?
No.
How about
No.
a reduced plant count?
Yes.
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 Significant?
No.
Got you.
No. I mean, I think the plant count could fluctuate too. I mean, I think at all different points there's going to be different needs for more or less plants.
Got you.
And it all really depends on who's willing to take up that issue and who's willing to make that number move. I think
Right.
currently there's really not an appetite.
Right.
But I think that the conversation needs to happen. What's reasonable
Right.
for an individual? You know what I mean? To provide for them and their ohana. You know what I
Like
mean?
grand,
Or you know what I mean?
100.
Right. And the thing is too, like they're not regulating the size of the plant. 10 plants could be 10,
Gigantic
Christmas
plants.
trees, bruh. You know what I mean? Like
Right. And that's the thing too. Like I remember at one point we were measuring the pots. Right, they're weighing the pots
Yeah,
as the
yeah,
plants.
yeah.
Like that needs to be refined. You know what I
Right,
mean? Yeah.
right.
Let's talk about yield. Okay,
that
does
a
yield
thing?
huh?
That's a thing they weigh the
They
pot.
used to be where they weigh the pots. So if you're just watering your fucking plant, they got you. Like
Soaked them, yeah.
you're
Or
fucked.
what if you use less soil, like to just like
That's what I'm saying. There's a whole
all
there's
these variables that they had no
Yeah.
clue to think about.
they just
Yeah.
pick a fucking. We're gonna weigh them and fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a high plant count, low yield, low plant count, high yield.
Right.
You know, I think it's about sustainability. How sustainable is your system?
Right.
You know,
Right.
everyone knows that there's a propagation phase, a vegetative phase, and then a flowering phase. You know,
Right.
and then you got your shit drying. So when of those counts as weight? You know what I mean? Like, is it like, okay, we're allowed 20 plants? Okay, can we do it with 20 plants?
Right.
You know, how much cards can I stack for me and my ohana?
Right.
Take care of them.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So I get 3 people with me.
Right.
They all smoke quarter pound a month.
Right.
Fuck, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about growing monster plants. I don't have the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now my plant count has to be reasonable.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So there's so much to be talked about.
There
bruh.
is. There
Yeah.
is. And I
Well,
think those conversations need to happen and people want them to happen, but like where's the forum? Where's the opportunity? Where's people coming instead of pointing fingers, where's people coming together like,
in the
yo,
shadows.
let's
It's
talk
like
about it,
It's
right?
here at Oahu Garden Supply.
Well, we can
There
bring
you
it.
go.
We can
Exactly.
always have discussions here. I'm totally comfortable with
Awesome.
that, as long as people
Yeah.
want to come over and you know what I mean. But the progression, like
Yeah.
we want to see physically, like, okay, our discussions and our group meetings. Where is this going to go from here?
Yeah. Yeah,
We're-
yeah,
That's where everybody's okay. They're putting their necks out. They want to know, like, is there going to be action from my actions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, to reiterate your question though, always see a pivotal part of Hawaii's industry, whether it be legalization or medical market, to be the right to grow at your home.
Yep.
And will always be the case. And I haven't heard one individual say that shouldn't be the case. You know what I mean? Like,
Killer.
I think that is a pivotal part of this industry that everyone believes is tried and true and
Right.
should exist, right? Because some states don't have that, right? And they see how harmful it can be, right?
Hell yeah.
Everyone should have that, right?
So what if the rule is you have 20 plants and you have 20 flowering at the moment, but you have like 20 clones getting ready to be the next? Does that count?
It counts.
It does.
That
Does
counts?
count. Yeah.
What if they're
So
not
that-
rooted?
Can they not be rooted? Like just germinating?
No, just clipped off the plant
Yeah.
and suspended in water. They're not rooted yet.
Yeah. It's
Does
either,
that
again,
count?
these are nuances that
Yeah.
haven't been touched yet.
Yeah.
What about
Right.
transporting clones that's not
Right.
rooted?
Right.
It's
the
just
clipping of a
debris.
leaf.
Yeah.
it's
You know
just
what I mean?
Exactly.
plant litter.
Right.
Right. What about your disposal? Like,
Oh, no, this
those
is-
are actually all plants.
Yeah,
Like, how
yeah.
do we dispose of everything?
Right. Right.
It's salad. What are you talking
It's
about?
fucking compost. Are we gonna really fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
get scrutinous over that?
Mhm.
I think. I
The
mean,
crazy thing is, as it stands in the current dispensary system, it is heavily regulated like that, to
Yes.
the point where, like, all of your trimmings, all that, you have to burn, you have to incinerate that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, you have to store it somewhere, and they have to come and make sure that you have, you know what I mean? To the
checks and balances with the weight,
everything,
man.
yeah.
Yep.
It's
Can you stand
nuts.
over it while it gets incinerated?
I heard like Oregon, you got to write down how long it's going to take you from going to point A to point B, and then you sign off like, okay, I'm leaving at this time. It's going to
Right.
take me 30 minutes, and you get there, and you got to justify why you're 45 minutes.
right,
Any
right.
divergence is like,
Yeah.
what the
Fucking
fuck were
A.
you doing?
It's
Right.
a plant, guys. Come the fuck on. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like I just want to be like, shake
Yeah.
these guys and like, it's a fucking plant. We can grow.
Right.
It's flower.
Exactly.
Like Jesus Christ, man.
I think maybe a few dispensaries or licensees had tried to figure out, and maybe they did. I'm not exactly sure about how to use your trimmings and like put it back in your soil to remediate and continue to reuse. But I think that there was some issue. Like the regulations had some issue with doing that, right?
Huh.
But like those are the solutions we need. Cyclical solutions, right?
I mean, worms.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Worm
Mushrooms.
foods. Mushrooms. Substrate to mushrooms. Yeah. Dude, I grew
Like you've been
mushrooms.
growing psilocybin off of it?
Yeah, I've been growing psilocybin. Like, I started off. I'll fucking say it. I don't care. Dude.
Yeah.
Come on. So sue me. I've been growing psilocybins, right? And I had this one cake I threw into my compost bin. And I was walking back to my house like, what the fuck? Like a straight Mario fucking mushroom
Yeah.
coming out. I was like, oh my God. So I scratched it and see if it turned blue. It turned blue. I was like, holy shit.
What does that mean?
It's a psilocybin mushroom.
Oh.
It just, the compost was so rich in nutrients that it
Yeah.
fed that mushroom so much that it just grew a gigantic fucking mushroom.
It's beautiful.
It was cool,
Dude,
man.
mushrooms are an amazing plant. Have you seen that movie, Fantastical Fungi?
Yes.
Have you seen that shit?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that shit blew my fucking socks off.
Bro, Paul Stamets
Ah.
blows my fucking
love that
I've been
guy.
doing the Stamets stack, the microdose protocol,
The Ricci,
Um,
Lion's Mane.
the lion's mane, and then the 0.1 psilocybin, and then a
Yes.
nice in 10 minutes after.
Right.
It's done wonders for me.
No
it's
shit, huh?
really
Yeah.
like, got me on like productive levels. Cleared my brain fog.
Yep.
All that kind. It's been awesome.
The niacin, I have a really bad reaction to niacin.
The flush, you get a flush.
Yeah,
you're
man.
supposed to get a flush.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I get like
How
long does it
itchy
last?
and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking kind of long, man. Like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Does it ever
Yeah?
get hot and like,
Well, lower your dose, maybe like half.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll last maybe 15 minutes. But the flush is normal.
Okay.
Don't freak out. Like you're gonna get hot, you're gonna get itchy, your face is gonna get a little red.
Yeah.
15 minutes will be pow.
'Cause
But that's
the-
really important for the process.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll try that again.
the
your body's
reason
fighting
why
off
that
the poison.
nah.
I like glow red.
niacin is known to do that.
and I got like
Yeah.
boob sweat after that. Like crazy as fuck.
I felt that.
But
before.
lower your dose a little bit. Everyone's different tolerance to
Yeah.
niacin, and niacin is an over the counter. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's pretty safe, and the flush it helps with neurogenesis. I watched this thing that Paul Stamets was talking about, and maybe someone else can watch it and see if I'm actually speaking truth here. But this, from what I remember, is that that stack specifically allows those pathways to continue to be used, like a highway to be driven on, and it helps repair old neural pathways in your brain that may have been damaged
Right.
when you were trauma when a kid,
Right.
things that happen, blah blah blah, and that niacin really helps accelerate that neurogenesis in
No
your brain
shit.
with those two, lion's mane and psilocybin.
Oh, psilocybin.
Yeah.
Is Ricci in any of those?
I don't think it's in the Stamets stack, but it.
Okay.
I mean, it had totally
Google it
tons
on
of health
it.
benefits.
It can. Yeah.
You
it
can
can't hurt.
totally.
Yeah.
Paul Stamets stack.
Yeah, microdose protocol.
Get involved, brother.
I've been
Wake up.
microdosing for a long time, and bro, I started off with like this whole consulting thing. Started off as like a almost like a rehab for me.
Yeah,
I had the craziest social anxiety, like talking to people.
yeah.
I would get so uncomfortable where like I wouldn't make eye contact. And
Mhm.
I would leave the room, or you know what I mean.
Right.
And look at you now doing a podcast.
Hey,
Yeah, bruh.
You know,
Internet,
and
bruh.
I
kudos to
I
you,
attribute
dog.
it to fucking
Hell yeah. Growth.
facing your fears, fucking mushrooms.
Yeah,
You know, like
totally.
intervention. It's like a self-intervention where you
Totally.
cut through the bullshit and
Yep.
you take the ego out, and you're like, what the fuck is really my problem?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
really don't bullshit yourself. Kalei.
Totally. Yep. I've
got
had a
on it.
lot of healing done from psilocybin.
Yeah, dude.
The way I try to explain it to people when they ask me like, "Oh, how did it actually work for you?" It was like it allowed me to see my state from like the outside perspective.
Yep.
I was like, I was watching a movie where I was the main star, and I was like, bro, like people in the movie, oh, it's right behind the door. Look, you should know. But like, if you're the actual person, you don't fucking know.
Right.
But if you're that third person, you can see what to avoid. So like, I was seeing, oh shit, this behavior is not fucking cool, or this is
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
You know what I
like,
mean?
You
So I
did
was
something.
able
The
to-
crowd went.
Don't do
"Boo."
that. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
you did
exactly.
that, you fuck.
Yeah.
What you got, Anu? The Paul Stamets stack.
Hey.
Welcome to the
awesome.
show, bro.
Hello, I'm still here.
All right, cool.
So yeah, the Paul Stamets stack, microdosing substances such as lion's mane, with the how do you pronounce this again? You guys been saying
Niacin,
niacin,
yeah.
niacin, and
Psilocybin.
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 The
Silly.
P threw you
AKA
off, huh,
magic
bruh?
mushrooms.
Let's go straight to the S next time.
Put
Psilocybin.
pterodactyl.
Yeah, but repairs neurological damage such as things like dementia-like symptoms as well.
Bruh.
Lion's
That's
mane.
hereditary in my family too, so it's perfect. You know.
Yeah.
Catching that shit early, son.
Me?
Yeah, but like repairing your neural
Oh, I think it
pathways.
was dementia. I was like,
No,
what?
no, I'm like taking care of that because you know it's in your
Yeah.
fucking history.
Yeah,
so.
totally. My great grandma had it. My grandma started showing signs of it. Actually tested for it, and then I'm trying to get my mom on it now.
Thanks,
you
Alan.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
Niacin is also a B vitamin.
Yeah, vitamin B.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how you take that like orally as drops?
No, it's
Or is
just
it
a pill. Yeah, the compressed pill. But yeah, does anything say anything about the flush that niacin gives you?
Nah, I haven't
Okay.
reached that one yet.
Okay,
Just the wonderful benefits of lion's mane.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, lion's mane mushrooms.
Uh,
Well, my
It's fucking delicious too, bro.
They're not even like
Yeah,
psychoactive,
so
right?
good.
They're
No.
just
No,
fucking
no, no.
regular mushrooms.
It's
and there
That's the
you can
fucking best
find them
part of
pretty
it.
easily.
Yeah.
My,
They didn't
my
fucking-
girl's been making. My girl's vegan, right? So she's been making lion's mane chicken nuggets,
That's
and it
what's up.
tastes like chicken, bro.
Yep.
Like literally
Is that
has a
what we had?
consistency.
No.
Maitake is.
Those are
what we have.
maitake mushrooms. Yeah.
Dude, you can do butter garlic and it tastes like crab meat. You can dunk it.
Oh
like
yeah.
crab. It's
Major.
fucking
What do you do?
legit.
Steam them or
Yeah.
you like saute them up?
You can steam it. You can
Steam
steam
'em.
it and get them a little wilty, like as if they're cooked crab, and then you
Yeah.
can just go
kind of squishy, like fucking.
That's
they
awesome.
have the
fibrous a
consistency.
little bit.
Yeah.
So to make the nuggets, you just mash them up and form them.
You can just kind of like cut them. You can just like cut them to form, and then
Oh.
you bread them and you fry them just like you would do a chicken nugget, bro.
Yeah.
Lordy,
Yeah.
lordy.
I was
there
very
is something
surprised.
on the niacin flush. Sorry
What's
to
that?
butt in there.
Yeah, bring it in.
butt
So it is a
please.
common side effect of taking high doses of supplemental niacin,
Hmm.
which can be prescribed to treat cholesterol problems.
Yeah, pretty common for people with cholesterol.
I thought you guys were talking about nioxin for a second. That's like hair
Nioxin.
loss and shit. But niacin
Is it really?
Nioxin is, but not niacin. I was like confused.
Sign
at
me
first.
up.
I was like, what?
I need some nioxin.
Nah, just let it go, bro.
No way.
Let it go, dude. Fuck, you don't
I
need it.
need
anyway.
a fucking
What do you need
hairline
it
like
for?
this guy, man.
What do you need it for?
Huh?
What do you need it for? You wear hats all the time.
There's a reason why I wear hats all the time.
Which came first?
I read it. I want it for the irony I'm living right now, where my chest hair is thicker than my head hair.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the one.
I
That's
want some
age,
balance
bro.
in my fucking life,
Right.
Eric.
It is balancing the other way. You had it.
Where do I get
good.
this nioxin?
Fucking longs, bro. I think it's over the counter, dude.
Oh shit.
Anything else? Thank you. Sorry.
Could you imagine the niacin flush lasting for over 1 to 2 hours?
Oh, is that the say? The
Mine
set
was
that
like
happens?
45
I mean,
minutes.
I mean, in some instances, it lasts
wow.
for
Like,
an
what does
hour.
it feel like?
It feels like you're fucking hot.
Yeah,
You're overheating.
tingly, overheating. It feels like you got sunburn real bad.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Skin sensitive.
Sweating kind.
Sometimes you sweat. Yeah.
I sweat, like a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
I would
you're
just
sweating.
lower the dosage a little bit.
Yeah.
I went hard in the paint.
Yeah.
I need to pass this drug test.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Fuck.
Yeah, nice is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like recently, I don't know when it kind of happened. Like microdosing has become like a fucking mainstream
Supplement,
like
or-
It has.
thing, dude.
It has.
Like,
Dude, even microdosing THC and stuff is hitting now.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
Why not?
small dosage for certain people, you know what I mean? And the people are having really positive effects. But microdosing MDMA, it's gotten a lot of research behind it too. You know what I
Killer.
mean?
DMT.
DMT.
Huh? How do you microdose DMT?
I mean, not microdose, but you know what I mean. DMT has been picking up steam.
Yeah.
Like people
Oh,
use it
yeah, yeah.
therapeutically.
Right.
yeah, but I feel
And
like a lot of-
ketamine too, right? Like we were just talking about ketamine
Yep.
earlier. Like, dude, they have ketamine clinics in town, in Honolulu. You can go and get ketamine therapy. You know
No
what I
shit,
mean?
huh?
Yeah. Go into a K-hole and get, straightened out.
Yeah, but I feel like
Okay,
with the
hold.
accessibility, like especially with things like DMT, there's a lot of people who are taking that journey without. I want to say, without the proper like
The
preparation,
majority of people.
and
are.
they're not really gaining any benefits from it. You know what I mean?
They might
luckily
be
for
maybe
the-
a little bit, but like not
Yeah.
as much as they could
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
right?
Not like, and they were not seeing any. Luckily, they're not having any negative side effects from
Sure.
it. But like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like with one like something that powerful, you need to have like a good
Totally.
intention going to ayahuasca. Is something like
Right.
there's a commitment involved with that
Right.
one.
Which again lends to our discussion of why things should be decriminalized, right? Like
Right.
we need to bring this stuff up so
Right.
people and bring it into the light so people can do it appropriately,
Because
Right?
the fact that you're hiding already adds that level of
Yeah.
paranoia, which may affect the way it affects you. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Right.
what I mean, just that always happens. Like a lot of people, their first time smoking weed is not good. And I
Right.
wonder if that's just because they're fucking scared that they're gonna get in trouble.
This guy's one's awesome, man.
I had a
Shit.
great time.
Yeah.
yeah. But I've known people even in the past few years that like experienced THC for the first
Right.
time and were like freaked the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Guaranteed.
they weren't in that mindset. They didn't understand. They didn't. You know what I mean?
They weren't prepared for it too.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like I know one person where first time didn't like it because I think that paranoia set in, and because of the setting they were in. Later, years later, tried it again in a very more comfortable, like laid back, like it was just her and her boyfriend in the fucking hotel room. You know what I mean? Like a weekend getaway, and like had a
Right.
way better experience because there was no fear
Yeah.
and no paranoia because they
right.
could relax and
Your
were
subconscious
comfortable.
does play a fucking.
I think
Big
so. Yeah.
time.
For-
it
for real,
amplifies
yeah.
the state that you're in,
Yeah.
right? Like, I met one guy that he was always like worried about like not being on top of work and like having stuff to do. And when he felt the same way, he was like, I should be doing work right now. I shouldn't be high. I shouldn't, you know what I mean? And it's perpetuated that state that he's always been in. You know what I mean?
Right.
It did help him though, like realize like, oh, it's an issue I got to address. I got to stop overworking. But
Right. Those who can reflect, on themselves that way can better themselves.
Right.
But some people are like, fuck, I got to stay away from it.
Yeah,
It makes me unproductive.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe you need to be unproductive.
Exactly. Maybe you need to slow down a little bit.
Right.
But that's like the end of the day after all your responsibilities are taken care of, and
Right.
you can.
But the regret still is there for people. They can't turn that regret
Yeah,
off where it's like,
yeah.
fuck, dude, I'm super stoned right now. I cannot get nothing done. It's like, you shouldn't be getting nothing done.
yeah, what needs to be done right now?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
there's
Right.
moments in time where that is allowed.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mental health break.
Yes.
Self-care.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You're gonna roll that shit?
You want me to?
I'll do it.
Do it, dude. Here, go
Yay.
for it.
We got any more questions?
No, that was
No,
it,
that was
man.
it.
Phone die?
The phone died.
Any questions that maybe you thought you hadn't asked yet?
No, dude, you covered all of them, man.
Okay.
Because I mean, having a farm where I have, I have a small grow,
Right.
but I have neighbors and I have friends that have bigger grows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always feel nervous for them when we get compliance checked
Yep,
and
yep.
they come in hard. Like this last one, the Department of Health
That's crazy that-
wasn't there.
I heard about all those compliance checks. I got some friends that sent me some videos about the compliance checks, and it was really hard to watch, man. It's
They
hard to
jumped my
see.
neighbor's fence. They
And-
jumped his fence.
and kitted up in camo with
Dude,
Why
guns.
don't
Guns.
you just cut the bolt?
Because it's illegal. You can't break into someone's
Yeah.
place. You gotta. If it's
Isn't
open,
jumping the fence.
That's got to
fucking-
change.
yeah.
That has got to
Breaking
change.
in?
Like, and they're checking the compliance of people who trying, willingly gave their information to do a legal system.
yes.
Right.
It'd be one thing if they're trying to like break down a mafia run, organization, right?
Right.
But like show up with a
Legal grow.
clipboard, bro. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I'm
Show up with a
saying.
clipboard and knock on the door and say hello. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't, act like a prick and kit it up like you're, in Afghanistan, bro.
Well,
You've never,
Why would you need more than one helicopter?
Right.
Why would you need any
Helicopter. Yeah. Why would you need,
Fuck.
you know what I mean?
I mean, you get
It's
visual
just-
confirmation, but you
Yeah.
have it on record.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have it on record. Whoop de fucking do.
Right.
Hey, can we go
Exactly.
see your? No,
Yeah.
get a search warrant. All right, thank you.
Yep, exactly.
We'll be back,
Exactly. The friend of mine who sent me a video of one of the compliance checks had his kids at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he has a extremely humble grow in his
Right,
backyard
right.
that he takes care of and is in extreme compliance at all times. He's like, I care a lot about being in compliance all the time.
Right.
And they still came kitted up, looking like occupying forces. And his kids
Right.
and his family was home.
Right.
And again, he signed up to do the legal program. Treat him like an individual doing something legally.
He's a compliant individual.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
He's not someone that's
Doesn't
trying
need
to
be
ruffle
felt
feathers.
like. And the same thing too. He's all like the amount of shame that I feel now when my neighbors are looking at me because all these dudes are rolling up and there's a helicopter rolling over in our
Right.
He's all like, it makes me feel like
You're a
still to this
criminal.
day
Yeah.
that I've signed up for this legal program and I'm still a criminal.
Right.
That's gotta
A lot
stop.
of people that I know and a lot of people that hire me for consulting, they're underground and like, I mean, confidentiality. I'm not gonna say
Sure.
anything, but like,
Same here.
and they're happy and
Yep.
they've been doing it for years.
Yep.
And they have no one knocking on their door. They
Yep.
just gotta keep quiet. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So those guys who are sticking out their necks to be compliant and follow the rules,
Yep.
like you said, shouldn't be
Yep.
treated that way.
Yeah.
It should be
Should not be.
celebrated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Examples
Yep.
of
Yep.
successful stories of how it can be done.
Right.
Right.
Right. And to be in a place where you're not being messed with and you're doing things, it's a privileged place to be. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And that should humble us too. You know what I mean? At the same time.
You can sleep well at night. You know.
Yeah. Because obviously not everybody can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we should be working to a place where everybody can.
Yeah. It's just a
Yeah.
fucking plant.
Yeah.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You're not ruining homes. You're not
Right.
having people steal and kill for
Right,
it.
exactly.
So come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a crazy time we live in. I like it now than what it was because the stigma, like I said, it's changing. But we still have a long way to go.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, and as you alluded to earlier, Hawaii likes to take the long road,
Yeah.
right? And we definitely know that we're going to pass a legalization eventually.
Mhm.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we all know that it's going to be needed to be fixed and changed and
Yeah.
updated and morphed with the times and keeping up with all the new information coming out, right? So there's going to be a lot of people saying, it's not perfect, so F it. I'm like, no, like let's get this
make
ball
it
rolling,
good.
bro. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like This is for the next generations. This is for building generational wealth for local people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In ensuring we have a sustainable farming culture
Yep.
for perpetuity. You know what I mean?
And independence for our island. You know,
Yes.
we're stuck on the tourism
Hell yeah.
teat. We got to fucking get
Oh,
out of
man.
that shit.
You say teat?
I said teat.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go full tit.
Yeah.
I went
yeah.
teat. Yeah, we're fucking we're over here sucking, bruh. You
Totally.
know what I mean?
When I went to Vegas for MJ BizCon this year,
I used to work
And
in that industry. I'm offended by that.
I know
Nah, just kidding.
the economic scale that the national industry is doing, but when I got there to see it firsthand,
Mm-hmm.
blew my mind.
No
I was
shit,
just like,
huh?
holy shit. It's like one of my buddies explained it as like, this is what it felt like at the .com bubble before that. Like, just,
No
he's like,
way.
this initial rush and the amount of money that's being kind of like thrown into this realm and the amount of risk that people are taking and the amount of just different variety and stuff like that. That's the cannabis industry right now.
They're
And
paying to be a pioneer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just on a scale. I think I read not so long ago that by 2025 it's going to be a $200 billion industry. And 2025, like we're in 2021 right
here,
now,
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's opening up international markets and all. You know what I mean? That's insane.
Right.
What other $200 billion industries you know of? You know what I mean?
And in 4 years. Oh
Yeah.
wait, was it?
Yeah.
What are we? 2025. Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Dude.
And if we can capture in Hawaii 3% of that $200 billion, we're doing great. You know what I mean? Like we're providing for people and we're, really doing good things. And the idea is going to be, do we do it? Do we do it right? How do we do it? And again, that train is on the tracks.
Yeah.
So you either
dude.
help out or, good luck.
I went to Grass Valley, and then I seen their town, and one of the locals was chilling with us, and he's saying that, yo, bro, before cannabis came into Grass Valley, this was all fucking shambles.
Mhm.
We have
What's Grass Valley?
that's California, NorCal, and he's like, we have this hotel that's like the center attraction of our town.
Right.
It was fucking wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the cannabis money went back into the town.
Yep.
Rebuilt it. It's a hotel
Right,
now. You know what I mean? So
right,
it's like.
right.
From this, there's such a big positive outcome
Sure.
over something so small that we could do.
Sure.
The fact we don't fucking see it.
Yeah.
COVID should be the eye opener for us that like, hey,
Yeah.
tourism is a volatile fucking industry.
It is, and I think that we really have an opportunity right now. And probably in some months, we'll hear some really good information that we've been gathering about how resilient the 8 licensees have been through the pandemic.
Right.
They were deemed essential services. They got to stay open during the whole thing. And when the economy, you look at the trajectory of the economy and how it crashed, essentially went all the way down, unemployment, things like that, the cannabis industry was able to stay tough. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
And stick with reasonably the same amount of traffic they had previously.
Right.
And why that's important is to note that, like, if this could expand, if this could be larger and include more people and have more economic activity, this is going to be an industry that's resilient, that like puts money in state pockets, but also in people's pockets, and helps generate education and medical health and all the things.
It's
Right?
a new pineapple.
Yeah,
could
for
be.
sure.
Or
Ethically.
sugarcane
Yeah.
for Hawaii.
Yeah. But then there's also this other flip side that I've been really contemplating a lot. I saw a post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like the corporate cannabis haven right now. It's insane. But there was this link that showed, and this guy was trying to promote it. He was saying, this is a reason why you should be supporting legalization efforts and expansion of growth in certain cities, because it increases housing prices. And I was like, but that's actually not good for
Yeah,
something
we
like
don't want
Hawaii,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So like, there's got to be
Gotta
balance. You know what I mean? That like, we can't just cater this entire industry to outsider tourists, right? And just fall in line with that whole rhetoric that, we want to build an industry that's going to, hopefully compete with the other industries we have on
Right.
success, but we also don't want to follow their exact model, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
We got to deviate at some point
Yeah.
in
The
time.
tourism industry is gonna just fucking like slide right in and be like, "Hey, weed tourism, bro." Right.
I
And
mean,
there's
I
gonna
can see that. you know?
Surprised that they haven't really perked their head up yet. You know what I mean? It seems like it's so Nevada, right?
Right.
After they opened up, and they're a pretty a tourist heavy place, and now they're doing consumption lounges. Nevada's going to open their first consumption lounge really soon, and that's something that Hawaii's going to have to consider.
Right.
The amount of hotels and visitors that we get, we can't expect the hotels to have a cannabis smoking policy.
Right.
When I was in Vegas just recently, most of the hotels had big signs: no smoking cannabis in the hotel. None. But you could smoke cigarettes on the floor. You know what I mean? But no cannabis.
Yeah.
Weird.
But you could walk through with a vape pen, and that's probably
people can't
nobody
really
really give a fuck.
No shit, huh?
Yeah, Vegas, dude.
I haven't been since they legalized.
It's the smell. Once they smell it, they'll be like, "Hey, that's weed. You can't do that."
Dude,
but
it's
it's
nuts.
like if you just have a vape pen with no smell.
Blowing up right now. Nevada is just going off for
No
cannabis.
shit.
I stayed right off the strip, and they had the world's largest dispensary right next to my hotel, Planet 13. Dude,
That's wreck, right?
Yeah, it's wreck. It's
what
a
is like the
warehouse
traffic
full.
in there?
No shit, huh?
Is it constantly? Is it like just a madhouse with people? Is it packed? Fuck.
It's
When
like
I
the
was
Mall
there-
of
well-
America for weed.
For weed.
Yeah. When I was there, it helped too that there was a cannabis conference in town, the biggest one of the year, and it hadn't happened in 2 years. So MJ BizCon brought, I think, like 200,000 people. Insane. And then there was another conference in town. Then there was this thing called MJ Unhinged, which is another cannabis conference. And then also, so that was like Wednesday through Friday, and then starting Friday was EDC. So another 450,000 people came into the city. And this was like, what was it, a month and a half ago? So like COVID, people had still trying to get over their COVID isolation. So people were just going nuts.
Happy to be out.
Hundreds of thousands of people. You know what I mean?
That's fucking great.
And it was funny. One of the promotions that Planet 13, or not Planet 13, one of the dispensaries was doing is they bought a lot of EDC tickets that were left over, and they would say if you come spend $100 at our dispensary, you get a free EDC ticket. So they were getting choke people to come in to their dispensary. So there was a lot of foot traffic at that time. Yeah.
Put that fucking X in between your names, and it's a thing now.
Yep.
That's so cool, though. I like that. You know, what
it
I
is
mean?
cool.
Yeah,
It was cool to see how they were able to kind of mature their market. You know what I mean, and kind of progress in their own way, right? And now consumption lounges again. That's going to be a huge. There's a lot of considerations around that, right? We're going to probably see a lot of, like reports of people blacking out. You know what I mean? People who are on low blood pressure medicine, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take THC, in a form like this where you're just getting it right into your bloodstream. You already have low blood pressure. Boom. You know what I mean? You're done. You're gonna black out. You'll come too. You'll be fine. Just make sure you don't bump your head. But that's gonna cause alarms. People can be freaking out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then there needs to be education on when and why and how much.
There's probably gonna be a lot of like resistance because like you're gonna let people drive after that.
Right.
Like,
But
there's gonna have to be some sort of like built-in Uber system.
Invest in Uber, man.
Or like-
Taxi.
you heard that Uber they're in the cannabis industry in Canada right now. They started delivering.
I was gonna say delivering. Well, like Uber is getting even not in cannabis here, but like I ordered a thing from Apple and it was delivered by an Uber driver. I was like, what the fuck? I was expecting like a FedEx or USPS, and this fucking regular dude showed up and he was like, "Here's your thing." I was like,
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah, that's wild.
I just trusted you with this thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Bananas.
Anyways. All right, what time is it?
Where we at?
11
Oh.
o'clock.
How long have we been going? 2:40.
Oh,
Yeah, let's fucking wrap this shit up.
All
It
right.
is still a
you can
work
cut
night.
out some of the excess. You know.
Nah, we don't edit.
Nah? All right.
Nothing. It's a long-
Unfiltered, right?
Yes,
Raw.
sir. Yes, sir. So tell everybody again where they can check you out on fucking Instagram.
Yeah, you can hit me up Instagram at Randy Gonce, RandyGonce. Check out. I'm the executive director of HICIA. I'm doing work in the cannabis space, but also a board member of Drug Policy Forum of Hawaii. So check us out. Check out my native plants. Me and Uncle Kimo always, support and propagation to educate around important use of medicinal plants. Yeah, and check out any of the other work that we get involved with. Hawaiian big issues that matter to us people, and keep on keeping on.
Hell
We
yeah.
got a lot of work to do.
Right on, Randy. Right
Excellent.
on.
And you fine, sir?
Oahu Garden Supply, where we can hold discussions on farmer-related activities. Let's just hooey up and talk story. 94150 Leoleo Street, beautiful Waipahu, Hawaii, 96797.
Beautiful, Waipahu.
Beautiful, gorgeous.
And Voices from the Planet. Yay, next time.
The world's fastest rising
The
podcast.
world's Not the world. Did you say the world?
Worlds, bro. Come on, man.
Nah, there's ones in the world worse than mine, but like Hawaii's definitely the slowest rising podcast. But also, it's so weird. It's paradoxical because this is the fastest growing podcast.
Is it
in
really?
Hawaii. Yeah, I'm saying it. Fuck it.
There you go.
Thank
Speak it into existence.
Yeah,
There you
right
go.
on. Thanks
Manifestation.
again, man, for
Yeah, you.
fucking
Thank
hanging
you,
out and
Randy.
Right
talking.
on.
I hope to come back.
Oh, yeah, for
Guaranteed.
sure, bro.
Guaranteed.
Right on. Peace.